be a very busy day here on the show, and that's what happens sometimes in sports radio. You think that's like, all right, everything settles down a little bit in the football side of things, and nothing's really crazy going on, and then boom, here it is. Arkansas's got a new quarterback.
Well, and this has been what everyone is focused on in the recruiting part of the early signing period, and since then, and certainly with Ty Storey's name showing up recently on the transfer portal, you felt like something was on the horizon, and now we kind of know what's been in the works. Yep. Ben Hicks, a player with an SMU background, a Chad Morris background, knows the system, a player that Chad Morris and his staff certainly know, going to be a Razorback. Hasn't played at the SEC level. We'll get into all the angles here this morning, and as you said, you had a chance to talk with Ben Hicks yesterday. We're all interested to hear what he's all about, who he is. So.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like it's one thing if you get a transfer offensive lineman or a transfer wide receiver or defensive lineman or whatever, a guy that looks to get into the rotation. But it's quite another thing where you get a transfer quarterback that you would think essentially as soon as he steps foot on campus, he's QB1. He's the starter. And that's what Arkansas has right now. And the last time that Arkansas probably went through something like this, or at least something that fans can relate to, is maybe back when Ryan Mallett transferred in. I think it was a little bit of a different situation because Ryan Mallett transferred in about towards the end of the season in 2008. It was probably one of the worst kept secrets of all time because everyone knew that he was going to leave once Rich Rodriguez was hired at Michigan, and knew that he grew up a Razorback fan, and knew the reasons he didn't come to Arkansas originally was because of the current culture and philosophy under Houston Nutt. Well, once Bobby Petrino came in, he transferred in, and it really got the excitement train going. Really got people pumped up for not only what Arkansas was going to do under Bobby Petrino, but what Ryan Mallett, having a quarterback of that caliber coming into campus, and what he was going to do to elevate Arkansas. Because they went 5-7 in Bobby's first year. It wasn't necessarily the quarterback problem. It wasn't that bad, but it was definitely a season that was lackluster, and they knew that they, by getting Mallett, could elevate it into the next year. So now it comes down to the same thing with Ben Hicks. Is Ben Hicks going to be that guy where he went 2-10 this past season? We all know how bad it was. But is he going to be somebody that can elevate Arkansas's game into 2019? It comes down to simply this. Are you a better team? Are you in a better quarterback situation right now than you were yesterday?
Is Ben Hicks better than Ty Storey? That's the only way you can answer that question. Ty Storey didn't lead the Arkansas team to any on-the-field victories. But was the starter for the most number of games and should have led his team to a conference win over Ole Miss, but they came up just short in the end. Played well enough to do it, but
he got hurt.
Got hurt there at the end. I mean, it's just a tough situation. But in the end, 0 wins. So the only way you can say is the situation better? Is Ben Hicks better than Ty Storey? I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I would sit here and I'd be lying to you if I said that I had watched Ben Hicks ever since he's been at SMU, or that I even knew who this guy was until it started being rumored that he was a possible transfer into Arkansas. I'd be lying to you. But if you want to check it out, though, at hitthatline.com, we did, and also on our social media accounts, we did put up a highlight video of Ben Hicks while he was at SMU. So if you want to check that out, be sure to look it up. So that way you can at least get an idea of what you're looking at. Plus, it's a highlight film. Be sure to take that into consideration because I had a 1-9 football team that had a highlight film, and you can look really good when you have highlights.
You didn't throw any of the interceptions into that reel?
No, it didn't make it.
You didn't cut that into?
Didn't make the cut in the final thing. So just take that into consideration. But at least give you an idea.
This guy looks great.
Yeah, it's amazing how great you can look. If we had a highlight film on our show, man, it'd
be short.
But still, it'd be
good.
Effective.
It'd be rich.
That's right.
It'd be like cheesecake. Everybody would be rich.
It's called a podcast.
Yeah, short but sweet when it would come to that. So, but if you can just watch that highlight, you can at least get an idea of how he moves around in the pocket, his arm strength. Because listen, again, I did not watch a bunch of Ben Hicks football. I didn't. But what I was able to do is I looked up just some YouTube videos, some highlights, some different games, some different things from him, and just my initial, very basic takeaways is that he looks to have a better arm than what Ty Storey had. Just looking at the deep balls that he was throwing, it helps when you're throwing to an NFL caliber wide receiver like Cortland Sutton, like he was in a few of those plays. but he looks like at least a little bit better of an arm strength. His moving around in the pocket is almost a little similar to what you saw with Ty Storey. It's not like he's faster or anything like that. They looked pretty close like that. But I think it's going to come down to what you kind of mentioned in the opening, Tommy, is this guy who's familiar with Chad Morris, who's familiar with the Chad Morris offense and the philosophy and the culture and all of that. Is he going to come right in, pick up where he left off, and be able to compete not only for the job, because I think it's his, but compete against SEC opponents?
That's the key. Can he make the transition from Group of 5, American Athletic Conference, AAC level defenses and competition, to the SEC? Is he going to be able to elevate his game, his vision, his ability to read defenses, all the things that go in to being able to be the captain of the offense? Can you do all of that at this level? I mean, time will tell. I mean, that it's hard to have some instant, hard-hitting analysis that says absolutely he will or absolutely he won't.
But I guess it also
my question, my gut says if you had all these tools and skills and abilities, and maybe they've developed over time, that's what you're hoping. If you could have done it a few years ago, you'd have already had a chance at this level. But here you are. A lot of these guys that are in the transfer portal, none of them are leaving because they're tired of starting too many games and winning too many games where they're at.
No.
You always got to remember that on these transfer guys. Now, there's plenty of examples of better fit in other places. They show up and, everybody's worlds turn around because of a transfer, including the player. So it will be an interesting thing to watch in the spring how it all looks.
Yeah, and this is the question I have really for the fans, because I think most of the fans are in the same situation that we are, where it's not like you can say emphatically if this is just that much better of a situation. There's just not enough evidence to say that just yet.
The offense got 5 wins better today.
There's just not enough for that.
Tell me how.
Yeah, explain that one. But I am interested, though, in how Razorback fans and their excitement level is about this. Because you thought you were getting Kelly Bryant and you didn't. You saw all these names from getting thrown into this infamous transfer portal. It seems like every single day a new quarterback from a Power 5 program was throwing their name in. Yep. And, of course, Hogville explodes, and everyone says that this is, hey, I know a guy's cousin that knew this, and he's interested. You start people reading those things, and maybe you got your hopes up. But here's the question for you Razorback fans. Does the addition of Ben Hicks excite you at all for the 2019 season? I understand if you're interested. I understand that if you want to see how it goes. I get that, because I think that's where everyone's at. But are you excited about it? Are you excited enough to say, man, all right, this might be a game changer. All right, I can't wait for the season now.
Does it make you want to renew your season tickets? Does it make you want to buy season tickets? Does it, because a lot of those type of decisions, the deadlines are going to be coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, it didn't take a trained eye to see there was a significant drop-off with ticket support. Does this do anything for ticket support? Because we can't gloss over how important that is. I mean, that's the financial lifeblood of any program. I know they get all that SEC money. Well, the backbone is still selling tickets.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think that
I mean, you better sell a lot of football tickets still to keep your program's doors open.
Yes.
I'm not disregarding the $42-ish million you get from the SEC, but
still got to sell your tickets.
Still got to sell your tickets.
Still got to make your money from
that. It's a huge chunk of money.
Yeah. So
does this do anything for that?
Yeah, because
for me, no.
Well,
I'd love to hear from some folks out there that are considering that ticket renewal right now.
Yeah, and because the
forms will be coming out.
Yeah, and that's what's going to come down to too. Is just how are the fans responding to this? How excited are they? Are they just more interested? They want to lay back and say, you know what, I'm going to wait and see until a few games in to see what this guy is about. I don't know, but at least we'll make spring football have a storyline to it. People will be really interested to see how he's doing, and then when they have their annual spring game, I think that'll be the most fascinating thing for Razorback fans to finally see is What is this guy like? How good is he? How good can he be? And can he make the difference for 2019? We're going to get into a lot more of this show. We're going to get in some quick-hitting headlines. We're going to have some guest work as well. And, of course, we're going to get to your phone calls and your reactions, 877-377-6963 on a Toyota Tuesday. Be sure to check out all new 2019 Toyota vehicles at your local Arkansas Toyota dealer, including the Highlander with plenty of room up to 8 people, the stylish new Corolla, the work-ready family tough Tundra, and the Go Anywhere 4Runner. Toyota, let's go places.
Very quick turnaround for our basketball team. I think this is our first Big Tuesday game, and playing against one of the better teams in the country. I think they're playing as good as anyone in the country right now, and they had a great non-conference schedule. I think they lost overtime to Kansas, and of course returning with Grant Williams, the Player of the Year in our league last year, as well as a guy that's playing really well, Schofield. And if you recall, those guys starting out as young freshmen, and took some bumps along the way, and now they're one of the more experienced combo. But they have more than just Williams. The Bowen kid, the Bowen and Bone kid, guys that have played meaningful minutes. So it's an experienced team, and we get the challenge of going and playing them at their place, and coming off of a tough overtime loss to LSU. We'll find out more about the make of our basketball team. And as I told our guys, I'm, not discouraged anyway, because, in every game we play, we've been right there, and just got to continue to try to make those plays that convert you into winning. And I think our bench is going to be a big part of that. Our bench has to come in and play at a high level in the first half and even in the second half, and enable the guys to finish off the game, to finish it off strong. I think there's some guys out there playing tired and trying to play through it. But again, Tennessee, very good basketball team, playing well. Welcome to the SEC family. Every game is a big game, and this is another big game on our schedule. So, to me, it's a great opportunity. It's a tremendous challenge, but we'll go in there with the understanding that they're a good team and we're a good basketball team.
Mike, you look at the box from the last time you guys played there a couple of years ago. You don't have anybody left who played in that game. They got a bunch of guys who were freshmen or sophomores, and now they're juniors and seniors. Just how tough is that? To have such a young team having to play at their place when they're so experienced.
Well, this is new for our guys, having an opportunity to go and play against one of the better teams at their place. So we will find out more about our basketball team. I think that's, to me, what it's all about. Is you're going to play against some great teams, and let's find out where we are. So I think our guys are looking forward to the opportunity, the challenge of going and playing. And as I said, they're a very physical basketball team, and I think that's one thing we've got to match their physicality. They shoot it and go get it. They shoot at a high percentage. They're one of the leading assist teams in the country, but that's what you call, just the process. I think that's the process, and I think Rick has trust the process. I think those kids have trust the process, and now they're playing as one of the better teams in the country.
How different? Grant Williams, he's a junior now. You saw those guys as young guys. Now they're men. How different? Same players, but it's a lot different teams.
Well, again, you can't teach experience, and it's a process you got to go through it. And those guys went through it. They took some lumps early on in those years, but we saw the process, the maturity take place, and of course Rick has added some really quality pieces. The Alexander kid has turned into a really good player. People don't talk about him, but I think he's a big key to what they do, and they've added some depth with their bench. But I think those guys that you talk about, those are the guys, the core guys for them, as well as Bowen and Boyne and Bone. Those guys are really good basketball players. The Turner kid. He's one of those guys that have been there through freshmen, and so we're at that stage right now with a lot of young guys, and so the process, they have to go through it, and sometimes there's some hard knocks, some tough losses, and I say I can look at every one of our games, and you look at the free throw lines, you look at the turnovers, the rebounding, and we're just a few plays away, and so can we get over that hurdle? And of course, it's going to be a big hurdle going against the Tennessee team, but it's one we look forward to.
as physical as they are, what are Cheney and Gabe going to have to do off the bench to help out Daniel and just in general?
I believe those guys are going to have to bring us some efficient, some quality minutes. I think they're going to have to do some blue collar things. That's what this game is going to be about: blue collar, defending, loose balls, keeping them off the boards, putting bodies on them. Maybe getting them in foul trouble. We've been pretty good about really attacking and getting to the basket, and so it's going to be important that we be strong with the basketball, and the biggest thing is on the road you got to have some poise. But no question about it, our guards have got to rebound. And not only Reggie and Gabe, Daniel, Adrio. I think all our guys got to. It's like all hands on deck when you go against a team that's playing as well as Tennessee is right now.
Also with Isaiah, just what's he going to have to do? Because I gather teams are chasing him all over the 3-point line. What's he going to have?
Rush. Welcome back into the Morning Rush. Does the addition of quarterback Ben Hicks to the Razorback football team excite you for the 2019 season? What's your thoughts and opinions? 877-377-6963 is the number to call in. Going to get some quick-hitting headlines right now, and it's presented by Williams Tractor.
Hey, never too early to start planning for the upcoming season. Stop by Williams Tractor. They're in Fayetteville and in Berryville during the Kick the Tires event. It's going on right now. They got great in-store deals, financing options you're going to really like, and this includes New Holland equipment. You can choose from tractors, hay and forage equipment, harvesting, seeding, spraying, even construction equipment's included during this sale. It all ends March 31st, so hurry by, kick the tires, and save big right now at Williams Tractor in Fayetteville and in Berryville.
So a few headlines to get to. Obviously, Ben Hicks officially announces he is coming to Arkansas, going to be the newest quarterback addition. That was the big storyline yesterday. But another storyline going out, something that we've been following, and I know a lot of people in college football have been following very closely as well. Kyler Murray officially announces that he will be entering into the NFL draft. Now, this does not 100% officially close the door on him still going to the MLB. However, from what people have been talking about and people who are close to the situation have been saying, that he has a desire to play football. He's leaning towards that direction, and I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. I think that there might be a lot of moving parts to this, things that we don't even realize, but because he's with the Oakland Athletics is the organization that drafted him. And just to give everybody an idea of what's been going on, the top A's executives, as well as a marketing executive from MLB, they met this on Sunday afternoon with Kyler Murray in Dallas to better understand what it would take. They're basically trying to get him to come to the Athletics, and then money is also getting thrown around too, but it seems like he's going to try out the NFL, which, comes back to the whole thing of, is this the right decision?
Well, here's the only thing I can base it on for me personally is when Tyler Wilson went to Arkansas, he didn't play college baseball. He was a really good high school baseball and football player. Had a chance to play college baseball. In fact, he's told the story on the show that Dave Van Horn was the first person to offer him a college scholarship of any kind. Played college football, played 3 years of pro football. So he's 8 years away from playing organized baseball. And when he came and he started working with us here on the show, even after he was still getting looks and tryouts and going to NFL facilities and still working and doing this job on a more full-time basis, pro baseball teams started calling and, hey, do you have interest in coming and playing baseball again? We've seen it with Tim Tebow. We've seen it with Mitch Mustaine. We've seen it with other guys that we kind of keep track of that have been quarterbacks. Point being, Kyler Murray has had more baseball success than any of those guys. So I got to believe if he went and played football for 2 or 3 or 4 years, even when he got done playing football, unless his arm had gotten severed off playing football, they're going to call. He's still going to have a chance. He could still have a lengthy professional baseball career. Maybe he doesn't make the majors, but he could get paid to play baseball if that's what he wanted to do. But it never works the other way. You can't go play baseball for 5 years, and then the NFL wants you to come be a quarterback. That just doesn't happen.
So you feel like you made the right decision then?
Well, I'm just saying you got one shot to do it. You don't just have one shot to play baseball because we've seen it. Now, baseball's little more willing to give you a shot. They've got a lot more spots to put you in. They got everything from rookie ball up to the pros. So there's just a lot more places to play. It's not as glamorous as the lifestyle he's lived at Oklahoma, and certainly not as glamorous as the lifestyle he'll see in the NFL. But if you want to play baseball and get paid to do it at some level, he would have that opportunity, I believe, even after he's played professional football.
If your NFL franchise needed a quarterback, would he be the first one you take?
There's a lot of love right now with this Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield style of football. The question is, here's a guy, he's like me, he struggles to get to 5'10". I mean,
you've been trying your whole life.
When he gets to the combine and they get down to the nitty-gritty and they take his measurables, how much does that scare certain teams off? I think with some teams, the fact that he's a Heisman Trophy winner, played at the highest level in college football, was just a win away from playing for the national championship. I think that will excite some teams, and they'll be willing to take that chance. Question is he a first round, second round, or would he slip beyond that? Because if you get outside that second, maybe third round, financially, then you've got a real situation here.
Yeah, I would think it'd almost be, in a ways, a failure if he decided to go with the NFL and didn't get drafted at least in the first two rounds. I think even in the first round it might be considered that way. So he must be pretty confident.
I mean, the list is very short of guys that have played pro football games in the NFL and played in the majors.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 7 guys in the last 75 years.
Yeah. And as far as the ones that have done it recently,
we can only name like
list.
2 or 3,
Yeah, Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
Those are the first 2 that come to your mind. And, as good as they were, and I just don't know if it's going to be able to work out in the same way of now, the way that NFL and MLB and all that's played out. I don't know. But, man, it just must be a tough life to decide whether or not to play professional baseball,
do I go over here
football.
and take the $20 million now, or do I go play? I mean, it'd be a rough deal.
Yeah, share some talent with the rest of us, buddy. More of the Morning Rush coming up next.
Want to get in on the fun of the lottery and get a great deal? Just say "Gimme 5" and ask for the $5 bundle from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery. For $5, you get a $3 Powerball ticket, a $2 Mega Millions ticket, and a free Natural State Jackpot ticket. It's an easy way to play all 3 games and get a shot at life-changing jackpots. Say "Gimme 5" for your $5 bundle today. With quick picks only. Offer ends January 31st. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Did you know world-class stroke care is available in Northwest Arkansas? But getting immediate medical attention is crucial. Sudden weakness, numbness, or problems with walking or speech are all possible signs of stroke. If you see any...
we got to do a better job of getting screens for him, getting them open. We saw him actually cutting and curling to the basket, and just got to be able to make plays when he does that. A couple of times he went in there, and I think as he curled, he lost the ball. But he just got to... He's got to be constant in motion, the fast break, pushing in there, and people are going to start paying a lot of attention. I think Daniel's been the recipient of that because they're spacing the floor in terms of trying to cover Isaiah, they're covering Mason over here, and it's opened up the lanes that J5 can get in there, and we're moving Daniel around, so now Daniel is a recipient of that. But I think he just got to continue to work, and I think we got to watch him from the minutes he's playing. I think sometimes young guys kind of hit a little wall in terms of being tired, and so I think Keyshawn and Desi and coming off the bench, I think they got to be very critical going down the stretch here. So we got to put those guys in and let them have some meaningful minutes. And I think we're seeing they're playing more consistent now. And that's the key with young guys. Can they be consistent? Can Reggie give us that night in and night out where he is a threat out there? I think Desi is playing pretty good basketball for us right now. Can we get Keyshawn more minutes out there on the floor? And I think what that'll help is help those guys starting out in the game get some rest.
And Mike, what have you thought of Mason's first 3 games? He had some big shots at A&M, and he's been pretty consistently aggressive, I guess, the last 2 home games.
I think Mason's starting to figure it out. They've been guarding him really hard. They scouted these guys, and they were guarding really hard. And I think with most good players, they figure out, how to maximize what teams are doing to him. And if you notice, he's getting to the free throw line. The last 2 games, I think he's gotten to the free throw line almost 20 times. And so that obviously continues the scoring that we need on our basketball team. And I think he's moving without the ball, cutting to the hole and getting layups. So we're getting, I think, into a the more up tempo we get, I think the more you'll see him continue to be a threat. He's learning. I think he's learning. But the one thing I want them to always understand that is it's inside out. And the more we start, I think, attacking the basket, getting the ball to Daniel, I think it opens it up for him. And I think that's what is taking place.
With the free throws, do you think it's starting to get mental with the guys? They're kind of pressing because Mason's obviously shooting well, but even guys.
This is the Morning Rush.
Welcome back into the Morning Rush. Reminder that we are streaming live on Facebook Live, on Periscope, and on YouTube. So if you want to watch our pretty faces and to hear us talk, you can do both. It's amazing. It's a new invention called streaming TV.
Yeah.
So we're all about it here on the Morning Rush.
Is this the Roku? Is this that Roku thing, or is this that Hulu thing?
It's on the Google.
I'll hang up and listen.
It's on the Google machine, on the interwebs. So you got to check it out there too. So, but by the way, I don't know if you got to hear this, Tommy, but find me somebody that calls a hockey fight better than Snoop Dogg.
Oh, good G.
Could be trouble. It's a penalty.
That's a penalty right there.
Yeah. Hands up.
Oh, watch out. Oh, he stole on him. He fired on Cuz. Hold on now. Oh, get it cracking then. Let's go. Snoop Dogg in the house. Let me see some. Drop the sticks, man. Let's get cracking, man, to the middle of the rink. Let's go. Number 3 wanted. I like that. Who was number 3 for us?
Dion Phaneuf.
Dion, go get cracking, Dion. Yeah, go get him, Dion. Get him, Dion. Move, Dion. Get out the way. Go get him.
Here we
go get him.
Still jarring with him. A little chirping.
Okay, right. I like that.
That might be the best thing I've heard.
Get cracking.
Let's get cracking. And having a hockey fight get called by Snoop Dogg. See, I wish, it seemed like that's obviously hockey, and hockey's not the biggest and most well-known sport here, especially in this area. But I wish, imagine if the NFL did something like that, or college football. I know that they had Eminem that one time up there. What was it, Michigan? It was a few years ago. They had Eminem, Brent Musburger, and Kirk Herbstreit, and it was really uncomfortable and awkward for Brent Musburger because he didn't really know how to handle Eminem. But I wish they did more stuff like that, where they just had celebrities in the booth. It's like, hey, give us a play-by-play call real quick.
Yeah, but guys like Snoop Dogg and Eminem and rap stars, old white guys like me that are up there doing play-by-play, it's really uncomfortable. Like they don't even know what to ask.
Yeah, well,
somebody
I
needs
understand.
to prep and say, all right, here, Tom Hart, here's what you ask him.
Yeah, just throw
some
these
young
questions
intern,
out there.
someone like Ty Richardson. Here's what, and then they give you these words.
He's calling an intern?
No, someone of your age, someone of your youthful knowledge.
Yeah, you're the Butch Jones of the Morning Rush.
Yes.
On here.
Didn't know if I just got a depletion in title or something.
That might be a promotion.
Fair.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with that.
Well, you don't have to do it all the time.
Can you?
But it'd just be funny, or even if it's on the radio. Like, what if Chuck Barrett had Snoop Dogg with him, on the radio broadcast?
I would pay to hear that.
I know, but that's what makes it funny, is because you think about how funny would that be to have old white guys up there in the booth and just having them interact.
Funny
with
for
them.
us, I could feel the uncomfortable vibes coming through the TV, like if Brad Nessler had to
the cringeness
to conduct that interview.
Yeah. Oh, it would be completely uncomfortable. But it'd make for great television, at least for that short period of time. So, but the fact that Snoop Dogg was there calling a hockey game, I mean, how often are you going to hear that?
Yeah.
And I think he did a fantastic. He may have a career.
Cracking.
Yeah, let's get cracking. I want to hear you use that in a sentence today with your clients, Tommy. Let's get cracking.
All right.
Let's do it.
Sign right here. Let's get cracking.
Let's get cracking.
We can get your ads on the air. We'll get cracking this week.
I heard that Snoop Doggy Dogg use that term once. Just trying to keep up with the kids these days.
All right, time to write this ad. Let's get cracking.
Let's get cracking. Let's go then. Of course, I can't do it in the great Snoop Dogg voice of his excitement or anything.
No.
But that may have been the best thing, though.
Sticks down. Let's get cracking.
Sticks down. Let's get cracking. And he didn't even know the player's name. He's talking about who's number 8 for us. Who's number 8 for us? Because it was the L.A. Kings. He didn't even know. Doesn't matter. Let's just get cracking. Let's get fighting.
Yeah.
Let's do something about it.
Yeah.
So
that was pretty good.
Yeah. And I hope that they do more of these. I'd love to see it in college football. Maybe that should be a list of what celebrities would we love to see call play-by-play.
All right, let me get cracking and tell you about Pinnacle Telecom. Our wonderful friends over there, the local company that can help you with your business telephone and high-speed internet needs for your business. If your business struggles to have a connection you can count on, speed you can count on, business telephone systems you can count on, Pinnacle Telecom's a company you can count on. They're local. You get to deal with local people you can count on at Pinnacle Telecom. 479-242-0000. That's 242-0000. Try the best. Give them a call. Pinnacle Telecom, 242-0000.
Auto Park in Fort Smith combines over 90 years of family-owned experience with the...
And Isaiah have missed some. You think it's getting to be mental at all?
We're working on it. I think we're working on it. Let me put it that way. They're working extremely every day to get better, and I feel it. I got a feeling it'll get better. I really, really do. It's been the thing that if you think there's something that's probably been the shortcoming of this team right now, it's probably making free throws and critical free throws. And as you said, guys that should be making them. And it's the difference between winning and losing games. And I think we've been in that position. So you just got to continue to work on it and just continue to encourage those guys.
Daniel, he got the fourth foul again the other day, but he played a long time without fouling out. What did he do? I mean, I guess is that just maturity, being smart, kind of knowing when to be aggressive, when not to? Or
yeah.
What do you think of how he was able to not get the fifth foul?
He's done that a couple of games. The last couple of games he's had 4 fouls, and he played better with 4. I think, I don't know, even A&M, I think he got 4 fouls. But he's got to be smart enough. Even the third one he shouldn't have gotten. That's where he's got to get smart. The third one, I think we had some momentum going, and I think he deflected the ball and he dove after the ball. I mean, he wasn't going to come up with it, so just let him have it. And that's the thing about our team right now is that in the LSU, I thought we had a lot of momentum plays that we didn't take advantage of. We had the crowd in it. We were really doing some pretty good things, and then we kind of went away from it, and whether it be a turnover or just a bad play. And so we got to learn to capitalize. But that's the experience part of it. You got to go through some things in order to learn them and to understand what we're trying to do. And that's what we do with the tape. We'll go and break down the tape, and we'll sit down and have sessions with the team and with individuals, and just try to use it as a learning experience for them, and as we go forward.
Mike, at A&M, I think all of Mason's shots, I think he took 11 threes. Was there a conversation where you wanted him to maybe attack the rim more, or did it just kind of click with him that that's what he knew he needed to do?
Welcome back into the Morning Rush on a Toyota Tuesday. Be sure to check out all new 2019 Toyota vehicles at your local Arkansas Toyota dealer, including the Highlander with plenty of room up to 8 people, the stylish new Corolla, the work-ready family tough Tundra, and the go-anywhere 4Runner. Toyota, let's go places. I put the poll question out on Twitter of does the addition of quarterback Ben Hicks to the Razorback football team excite you for the 2019 season? So we want your thoughts and opinions. So if you want to call in, 877-377-6963 is that number to call in. What do you think about this? Because right now, 79% of Razorback fans are saying, I'll wait and see. So it's not exactly going to set the world on fire. But as we talked about in the opening of the show, is he a better quarterback than Ty Storey? Is he going to be better than what you saw this past year at the quarterback position? Is he going to be able to step in right away and compete in the SEC? And these are questions that we really don't know, but if we go through spring ball and we see spring practice, and if he does really well during that, does that get us excited? Do we have to go through fall camp? Do we have to hear some things of what Chad Morris and some of the players are talking about?
Right.
I don't really know, but I mean, it may be one of those things that takes a few games to start the season off before people start getting excited about him. But it just seems like, because a lot of people were asking him about his stats, and a lot of people want to look at his stats. He's played 3 years at SMU. In 2016, he completed 55% of his passes, threw for 2,900 yards, 19 touchdowns, 15 picks. Then in 2017, that was under Chad Morris. In his best year, he completed 59% of his passes, threw for 3,500 yards, a little over 3,500 yards, 33 touchdowns, 12 picks. Then this past season, where there was some benching, where he was benched, then he got brought back, and there were some quarterback issues going on there at SMU with Sonny Dykes. He completed 56% of his passes to over 2,500 yards, nearly 2,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. So the stats aren't setting the world on fire, but he is the leading passer in SMU history for whatever that's worth.
Over 9,000 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's at least
what you're saying is he's capable.
Yes, it's
he has the physical tools, he has the arm, he has the mental ability to do all of this.
Mm-hmm. So, and which is great, but is knowing the offense and knowing Chad Morris, being familiar with him, and that year he was in a few years he was under him at SMU, does that make the difference? How much does that give you confidence and like, okay, this is why this guy can get done, even though I've never really seen him play that much, even though we've only seen highlights, even though his stats aren't setting the world on fire as far as his completion percentage, he's thrown a lot of picks. Throw that aside. The fact that he is so familiar with Chad Morris and knows Chad Morris and had his best year under Chad Morris, does that move the needle for you at all to say, you know what, this might work out all right, based on that fact alone?
Would his confidence level be higher? He's more comfortable playing for this coaching staff, perhaps? Would they be able to instill more self-confidence in him than maybe what the transition was at SMU following Chad Morris? Because it seemed like his downfall was what? Once Chad Morris left, from what you went through on his numbers.
Yeah, dropped.
Yeah. If I was in his shoes, based on what you're telling me, it sounds like I would be more confident about my ability to get the job done as the quarterback with Chad Morris and Joe Craddock and that staff being my coaches.
I would too. And especially in the fact that of course we got to catch up with him yesterday. We'll play back that interview here in about half an hour. But one of the things that I thought was interesting about him is the fact that his years did go down, and now he's coming to Arkansas and how he's going to compete in the SEC. That's all going to be very important. But the one thing that Chad Morris kept saying was, we only have about 30% install here in the offense. We only have this percentage. We haven't really gotten to the nitty-gritty. We haven't really opened up the offense the way we wanted to. So here comes Ben Hicks, which I get it, that the whole team has to be on the same page offensively. It's not just the quarterback. But can Ben Hicks be that guy that steps right in and says, you guys are only at 30%, 35, 40, whatever. I'm at 100%. I know this offense, so let me help you out. Because the quarterback's the most important position on the field, especially in the Chad Morris type offense and what he is wanting to do. So if he's wanting to run an offense like this and he has a quarterback that knows the offense in and out, you feel like that might be able to elevate everybody else around him to where the offense obviously runs through him, but he can help everybody else out a lot too, because we saw plays in games this past season where it looked like the offense was just they really had no idea what they were doing. And I think it'd be helpful if the team leader and the quarterback is the guy that's like, hey, I know what I'm doing. You go here, I do this, you do that. I think that also might be helpful.
Yeah.
But it just comes down to his ability.
Could that 30% go to 80 or 90% because of this one guy? Everybody else still has to learn it. I just think spring football became a lot more interesting, not because of competition, but because who is this guy? Is he going to be able to get you to a bowl game? We're all going to be able to look and evaluate for whatever we're allowed to watch. And I think it's sometimes hard to judge in a practice because practices can be set up and controlled by the coaches to make things look a certain way. So you can look at things in a practice and come away with a false impression. We've all had that happen to us before. But you'll have an idea whether or not this guy can do it, because if you're not able to do it against this Arkansas defense, there's no way you're going to do it against the Alabamas, LSUs, Mississippi States, Auburns of the SEC West.
No. And early on in week 2 against Ole Miss. I mean, you travel on the road to the SEC in the second week of the season. And not that Ole Miss is a juggernaut at this point, and you've often talked about how recruiting, you think it's really going to hit them hard this season because it's of the loss of recruits. But, I mean, it's an SEC game on the road. We kind of measure up to see where this kid's at.
No.
Second game of the season.
Fantastic point.
He doesn't have much room for error to really get started because you're going from a 2-10 team that lost to Colorado State and North Texas. You feel like the only way to go is up. But you're going to have a new quarterback with Ben Hicks. You're going to have essentially all new wide receivers. You may have a few guys, but you got a lot of freshman wide receivers coming in. You're going to have essentially an entire new offensive line, at least 3 out of the 5. You're going to be brand new offensive linemen. Your running backs will essentially stay the same with Devwall Whaley and Rakeem Boyd and Chase Hayden, those guys back there. You'll have C.J. O'Grady still at the tight end, but Hudson Henry being added as well. You'll have a lot of new pieces. So that's another thing that I'm curious to see how Ben Hicks will react to, where he comes in and knowing that it's not like he has NFL, for right now at least, NFL receivers around him or NFL offensive linemen in front of him. He doesn't. He has a lot of unknown pieces around him too. These aren't established guys. The only guy that you could probably say is established is Rakeem Boyd. I know you may have something with Devwall Whaley if he can be healthy this year. But and C.J. O'Grady's a good player, but that's it. I mean, you got a lot of new faces around here too.
Let me ask you this. Any chance at all Justice Hill shows up to play some football?
I don't think so.
He's already on campus. He's completed his high school career. Any chance that this spring he rolls out and gives it a go?
I mean, I don't know his situation, but I would be surprised if he did.
Talking about the quarterback from Little Rock Christian that's there on basketball scholarship with the team right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not obviously eligible to play immediately.
No, he is.
Is he eligible?
Yeah, he's eligible. He just there. That would waste. I mean, you only get a half season out of him.
Well, he's eligible, but but you wouldn't.
You don't want to play him.
I guess I misphrased. If he played now, exactly. I mean, you would not want to use him in the spring semester, and then now he would be a sophomore next year. So
yeah, I would be surprised if he ended up playing football. But at the same time, I'm never surprised by anything. But what addition would he be?
I don't know.
You know,
he's a great athlete.
Yeah, freak of an athlete. But I think that's what Ben Hicks is going to have to come in and.
I mean, we know
really
his father's
elevate.
background as being an assistant coach at Arkansas, being a head coach at San Jose State.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he could come in and probably.
I don't think it's
something.
likely, but it wouldn't floor me. It wouldn't surprise me.
I think he'd be a good addition. They need all the help that they can get. Any type of athlete and any type of game breaker that they can get, I'm sure it will be a welcomed thing.
It's hard to work it out, though, between football and basketball when the basketball team is the primary sport.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're beginning your preseason in October, your regular season begins in November. Unless Mike Anderson would be agreeable to letting him join the team in late November, early December on a full-time basis.
I don't know if he'd do that.
I don't know.
I don't know if he'd do that. Yeah,
I mean, one player means everything a lot of times in basketball because of practice. You
need the bodies.
You need the bodies in practice that can go at a certain level to make practice competitive.
Yeah, and that's why I would be surprised if he ended up going that route because they probably need him more in practice than anything in the basketball side of things. So, yeah, he might be an element that gets thrown into it later. But the thing is like the offense for Arkansas football, it's going to look completely different next year, obviously. You're going to have a few pieces here and there that's going to be back, but it's going to be a completely different look. And it comes down to where people are excited about the freshman wide receivers. They're now maybe got a certain level of excitement with a new quarterback. You got a new tight end coming in. You got some running backs that are you got all of that, but it comes down to how people feel about the offensive line. I mean, your offensive line was bad last year. Really bad. And 3 of your best bad offensive linemen, if that makes sense, are gone.
Say that again?
Your 3 best of bad offensive linemen. Because that's what they were. They weren't Yelder Froholt was decent enough. But you had seniors like Gibson and Wallace there was games they were getting worked. Absolutely worked by some teams. And they're gone. And so it does make you concerned when you're sitting back. You're like, if that was the best they had to offer last year, they got a few pieces coming in. They got a few JUCO guys, but that was the best they could offer last year. Good grief, what's the guys behind them look like?
Yeah.
And if you're Ben Hicks, you're not going to be very successful coming in your first year if no one can block for you.
Speaking of bad offensive lines, did y'all see where Kurt Anderson got promoted to full-time offensive line coach at Northwestern?
He did.
Yeah.
Patty Fitz making a great hire.
I think Patty Fitz will be going down the route of old Brett Bielema here in about 2 years.
He's been a quality control guy on that staff, an analyst or whatever. But now he's the O-line coach there now.
You got to remember,
Congrats.
This is the same head coach that referred RPOs to communism. So,
yeah,
I know he got Northwestern to their first Big Ten title, and I don't know how long, but maybe not the best hire.
Well, we saw what happened when Brett Bielema hired him, and the ultimate demise of Brett Bielema, probably more so than any other position out there, was the offensive line. And honestly, the reason you're in the situation you are in.
It brings it back to why are you having to rebuild this offensive line? Well, you dig down in the topsoil a little bit, and that's what you're going to find Kurt Anderson.
You're going to find Kurt Anderson in the lack of recruiting.
His press conferences, you'd ask him a simple question about offensive line play, and he'd draw it out for like 3 minutes and just go into this like random rabbit trails like all over the place.
He was. We all know just exactly how bad of a hire that was in the ultimate demise of Arkansas football. But that's the situation you're in right now, and they're trying to find their way out of it. Can they find enough pieces to get it going this next year for Ben Hicks? That's going to be the key. 877-377-6963 is the number to call in. More of the Morning Rush coming up next.
It's going to jack up threes and settle. I think that was the conversation. And even when you think about the Florida game, I think half our shots were three-point shots. And that's not who we are. We're an attacking team. And I think when you attack or start inside out, when you got a guy of size such as Daniel, a guy who's not a black hole. I mean, he makes great passes out of the post, and but if you start understanding, you play to win. You don't just play to play. And so, without a doubt, he hadn't shot many free throws, and so all of a sudden now he's shooting free throws, and he's doing more than just standing on the perimeter, just letting it fly.
Mike, I know you guys haven't played anybody like Tennessee on the road, but you have won your 2 road games. Does that help a young team at all, knowing that they want big at Colorado State, you want a tough game at A&M? Does that help?
We play well on the road. I think we play well on the road, and who knows, that may be the trick. Sometimes you're playing at home for some guys. Some guys don't play as well as home, but we played well, so we'll see. As you said, as the game continues to play, the games get tougher and tougher. So we'll find out a little bit more about our basketball team. The questions that we posed at the beginning of the year, we're finding out some of the answers to it. And I still don't think we hadn't played some of our best basketball. I really don't. I think there were some periods of it. Playing LSU, I thought we played better, but I think there's still another level we can get to, and once we get those guys clicking on those cylinders, this will continue to be a fun team to watch and for you guys to cover.
Anything else?
All right. Okay.
For whatever reason life requires you to stay put, get takeout with our new online ordering experience and be where you have to be. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Availability may vary.
This is the Morning Rush.
Hi, folks. Larry Rath here with a better way to drive from Rath Auto Resources. A new year means it's time for a new ride. You can resolve to drive better with discounts up to $3,200 below retail value on our huge inventory of Rath road-ready vehicles. When I say huge,
it might be freezing cold here in the state of Arkansas, but where would you rather be than the Bud Walton Arena, home of the Razorbacks, coming in at 10-2, taking on the Tennessee Volunteers at 9-2 on the
Center and reconditioned to the highest standards. Are you waiting on tax money to get your nicer, newer car? Bring us your W-2 and let one of our friendly, non-commissioned solution specialists show you how you
see Schofield aggressive on that tray, and it's 5-0 Volunteers, and then a steal by Jordan Bone. Here comes Barford all the way. Wild shot, and a tip in is good by Dustin Thomas. Barford, the second time now the defense has collapsed on Gafford as soon as he caught it. Admiral Schofield with another 3. He has really improved his game, shooting 43% from downtown.
You love to see that's where hard work pays off. His three-point numbers have gone up each year.
Speaking of three-point prowess, Jalen Barford knocks one down, and then Alexander all the way. Arkansas plays the fastest 40, but Tennessee putting it in fifth gear.
Experienced. Shot clock down to 2. Macon's going to have to pull up and fire. Does at the buzzer. Great patience by Macon. Knowing he had 2 or 3 dribbles with the shot clock, got to that sweet spot of the floor and buried it. Bowden has it swatted away by Gafford. What a win in conference.
Quick three off the inbounds and a good look for James Daniel, who was a scoring machine at Howard and is more of a distributor now at Tennessee. He can light it up. He can light it up quickly. Already has 3 games of multiple threes. Good time for Tennessee when he makes the first one. That might be the best move I've seen Dustin Thomas make in 4 years. Well, a little up and under. Bone on a 3. Rattles one home. Jordan Bone really struggled at times as a freshman, battled injuries, looked a little raw. He played much better this year. That's a fortunate tip-in by Daniel Gafford. He's got Gafford on him. It's Schofield who's been feeling it and continues his 3rd 3 of the game. Schofield's got 9. Good job feeding the hot hand. Schofield knocked him down all from that area of the floor as well. If you're making, you got to realize that he's the hot hand. You got to get into him when he catches it, make him put it on the floor. That's just a one-on-one move by Jalen Barford, who was a spec. Thompson trying to find one of those guards. Instead turns it over. Scooped up by Williams. Look out! Oh my goodness! Dropping the hammer, Grant Williams. He was a young man who was looking at Ivy League schools, and all of a sudden Tennessee offered late. Decided to play some ball in the SEC. It's worked out well. That shot worked out well for Jalen Barford. He's got 7 on the last 5 games in this series. Tough.
Welcome back into the Morning Rush. The Arkansas Razorback basketball team tonight has a tall task in front of them of taking on the number 3 team in the country, the Tennessee Volunteers, on the road. Possibly is going to move up because of Duke's loss last night to Syracuse.
Correct.
Which, by the way, going on in that game, Duke was 90-0 when they were the number 1 team against unranked opponents at home.
And that, I would say that game was at Cameron. That's
right.
That's an important thing to point out. It's one thing to go to the Carrier Dome and get beat if you're Duke.
I mean,
this happened to Cameron.
Well, they lost their starting point guard, Trey Jones, within about 5 minutes of the game, and Cam Reddish, who's one of their studs, their stud freshman, he had flu-like symptoms. They didn't play. So the 2 of their top 4 players didn't really play last night. So you can kind of understand why they lost.
I can't stand Jim Boeheim. There's just something about that guy. He just seems dirty.
Hard to root for Duke, though, too.
I know. It's kind of like you hope both teams lose. It's one of those deals. But, you know, I'm still somebody who misses the old Big East, though, when Syracuse was in that with UConn and all those
Georgetown.
Great, Georgetown, Villanova, that great. Yeah, Syracuse being in the ACC is still something I got to get used to. But anyways, Arkansas taking on Tennessee tonight. They're a top 3 team, though. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And I was talking with Josh Ward as I went on his show yesterday, and he's going to come on with us here in about a little over half an hour. One of the things I think has impressed me most about Tennessee is in basketball, especially college basketball, when you play teams on the road and you're one of the top teams, more often than not, you're going to get team's best shot. You're going to get the best atmosphere to go into. You're going to get the loudest crowd level. You're going to get all of that. And Tennessee has not just been playing well and escaping with victories. They have been destroying their opponents. Like, not even close in some of these games. And it's quite incredible considering that when they hired Rick Barnes, I didn't really think that it was going to be – I thought it was like, oh, okay, solid hire. He was good at Texas. But I don't think I ever would have dreamed that they would be at the level that they're at right now, where they're essentially looking like one of the best teams in the country. I mean, Tommy, they're 3-0 in SEC play. They played Georgia at home. They beat them by 46 points. Then they go on the road to Missouri, beat them by 24. Then they go on the road to Florida and beat them by 11. Now, that game was closer still than maybe what the final score indicated. But they are taking care of business, and they are working fools right now.
So other than recruiting, how has he done it?
I just think it's good coaching and building depth.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any magic wand that he's doing. I don't think he's doing any crazy sorcery or anything like that. I just think he's a good coach who knows how to coach not only during practices but in games. And he's recruited well and been able to build up some depth and some guys that can play. I mean, Admiral Schofield, which might be the best name in
I love it.
all of college basketball. But, you know, having a guy like him who's a senior and him being able to do what he's done and be the leader for that team and getting him to return, because he was thinking about going to the NBA last year, getting him to return was huge. I mean, the guy's 6'6", 241. I mean, he's just a beast of an athlete. And they have some other pieces as well. So I just think that Rick Barnes is a quality head coach. And I think he was a quality head coach at Texas. They probably should have held on to it, but changes are needed in some cases, and now he's at Tennessee. revitalized, re-energized, and now you see the result.
You know, Arkansas's been to the tournament 3 of the last 4 years. Not to a Sweet 16 in over 20 years, as we know, 1996. But Arkansas's had success. We know about the wins, being in the top 3, depending on which time frame you want to look at. Arkansas, Florida, and Kentucky Kentucky's the most successful, but whether it's 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, Arkansas is in the mix for most SEC wins. But then you look around the league and you see, and I know it's maybe a flash in the pan, but you see what Kermit Davis and Ole Miss have done. I know it's a quality win against Auburn that's got people's attention. Tennessee, and what Rick Barnes has done there in 4 years. I know Bruce Pearl, he raises your eyebrows a little bit, but the success they're having at Auburn. You just look at some of these things and does it make you wonder what's missing at Arkansas to go to the next level?
It does me.
Or are we not appreciating what you have? It's hard to appreciate what you have when you've lost a couple at home in a row in SEC play.
Yeah. I just think besides that year with Bobby Portis where you were a top 25 team pretty much the whole year, besides that, you haven't had the seasons like these teams are having in the regular season. You got it going and you got to the tournament, but to be a team that's considered one of the best teams in the country, at least at some point in time during the season, is something Razorback fans strive for because that's what they want. If, hey, Tennessee can do it, if Ole Miss can do it, if Auburn can do it, Mississippi State can do it, how can Arkansas not do it? Doesn't make sense. So, I don't know. We'll talk about this and more, but we'll have Ben Hicks, newest quarterback for Arkansas, on the other side of the break in 2 minutes. Stay with us, folks.
Macon drills it. Possession before, we saw that matchup. And then an offensive foul on Daniel. Again, more trouble getting the inbounds pass in. Bone with 5 to shoot. Stop and pop an air ball. And then a wild baseball pass. And somehow they get it to go. That looked like a Hail Mary throw by Gafford, and it ends up with a layup. Just how you draw the break. Throw it out there, go get it. Shot. Just how you draw it up. Home run play. Awareness from Macon as he was going out of bounds. Yeah, but that ball. Macon from long range. Oh my goodness. 8 points for Macon, and that one from about 24 feet. Arkansas can get him a free look, or he can step into a shot. It's a free look for Tennessee, and knocked down the triple buried by Daniel. Daniel comes in shooting 41% from 3. Tennessee 6 of 10 overall from behind the arc. And Macon responds. They're going into the 32. Ball screen for Macon. Pull up, 3 ball. Got it. What a big shot for Daryl Macon in Arkansas. And Macon leading the way with 13 points. A first half roll in which very important here in the second half. The play under control. Barford under control on that baseline drive. The senior has 9. Up top, Bone. Rise and fire. 3, and he knocks it down right in the face of Beard. There's that stepping into the 3 again. High percentage shot. Look at that drive by Daryl Macon. That's where Arkansas gets you. Pull-up jumper. Bowden feeling it. And hey, if you're a member of the Club 165, you got to shoot, right?
Absolutely. And again, rhythm jumper going to his right off the bounce. He feels comfortable shooting that shot. Confidence building here in the second half for Bowden.
Offensive rebound and a little hook shot from Gafford wills it in. Daniel Gafford has been kind of quiet, had some foul trouble in the first half. That time makes some noise with a rejection. Out of bounds, Arkansas basketball. Beard right now just dribbling, not going anywhere, and then settles for a deep 3 and hits. Well, that'll work. And that will ignite this Arkansas sellout crowd.
Starts right now.
1 hour down, 2 hours to go. Appreciate everybody listening in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. John Neighbors, Tommy Kraft, Ty Richardson, all in studio with you this morning. And thank you, as always, for making us a part of your morning this morning on a Toyota Tuesday. Be sure to check out all new 2019 Toyota vehicles at your local Arkansas Toyota dealer, including the Highlander with plenty of room up to 8 people, the stylish new Corolla, the work-ready family tough Tundra, and the go-anywhere 4Runner. Toyota, let's go places. Now, we've been talking a lot about the newest addition to Arkansas Razorback football team, Ben Hicks, the quarterback from SMU. He will be a grad transfer senior, so you're only going to have 1 year with him. And, of course, we know that he played for Chad Morris at SMU for a couple of years. So now it's got to be a weird deja vu thing where you played for him at one school, he leaves, you stay at that school, but then you leave the school, and now you're back together at Arkansas. And there's no doubt about it that both Chad Morris and Ben Hicks upgraded their situation.
Sure.
But has the Arkansas Razorback football team upgraded their quarterback situation? That's the ultimate question. But yesterday, when the announcement came through that Ben Hicks was coming to Arkansas, we had a chance to catch up with him and ask him a lot of these questions and a lot of the things that he's going to be expecting and coming into Arkansas. It's really fascinating. He's very excited, and I really appreciated him hopping on, so we're going to play that back for you right now. So without further ado, here is our interview with the newest quarterback for the Arkansas Razorbacks, Ben Hicks. Right now, let's go to the phone lines as we welcome in the newest member of the Razorback football team, Ben Hicks, the grad transfer quarterback from SMU. There's a lot of things that we definitely want to ask him about and get to. Ben, really appreciate you joining us this morning. How you doing, man?
I'm good, sir. How about yourself?
We're doing really well. Congratulations on your decision to play for the Razorbacks. And let's just start right there. What made you decide that Arkansas was the best fit to take your talents over to Fayetteville?
Just the opportunity to play for Coach Morris and his staff again, and I really enjoyed my visit. And when I left, it just felt like it was something, an opportunity I couldn't let pass. So I'm really excited.
Well, that's got to be kind of a weird thing, right? To play for Chad Morris at SMU, then him leave for Arkansas, then you leave SMU for Arkansas. It's like a crazy deja vu. It's got to be, right?
Yes, sir. It's interesting how it worked out, but I think it's for the best. So.
Well, let's talk about Chad Morris. Obviously, he had a tough go in his first season at Arkansas, going 2-10, and fans are just waiting on him to take him to that next level. What is it about Chad Morris that you appreciate and you love so much as a quarterback, and what makes you think that he'll be able to get it done at a high level at Arkansas?
Well, we saw it at SMU. First year at SMU wasn't great, but just gradually got better and better, and I think that's exactly what he'll be able to do and what I hope to do when I come to Arkansas. And I just think, he'll gradually get the program better and better. And, I think Arkansas fans should be excited about having him in Arkansas. And, I'm really looking forward to this season. It's going to be a lot of fun to get back to work with those guys. And, I'm real excited.
So one of the things that we always find interesting is we only get to see Chad Morris when he's behind the podium doing a press conference or whatnot in a game. But what's it like to work with him day in and day out with that routine as a quarterback? Obviously, he's a great offensive mind, but what is that like? Take us in the ins and outs of what it's like to work with him on the day-to-day basis.
Coach Morris is a real smart guy. He understands football. He understands his quarterbacks. He's got high energy. He's always juiced up and ready to go. And, that energy kind of feeds over into the team. I had a blast working with him at SMU, and, I know it's going to be the same in Arkansas. So he's a great guy, high energy at all times. And like we said, he knows his quarterbacks, and he's had a lot of success with quarterbacks. So, looking forward to having a successful year at Arkansas with him.
Speaking with Ben Hicks, the newest quarterback to the Arkansas Razorback football team right now on the show. Ben, another question I want to get into is about the guys around you, because obviously Arkansas has some new freshman wide receivers coming in with their great recruiting class for the 2019 year. They have some running backs that are established. It's about the offensive line. It's always about who you're going to be throwing to, handing off to, and blocking in front of you. So what do you know about the guys that you're going to be playing around? What do you make of that situation that you're going to be in?
Watched a few games this year. I know they have a great running back core. I know they're extremely high on those guys, and then they're extremely high on the freshman receivers that they signed. So, got to talk to a few guys this weekend on my visit. I know they're excited about the staff and what all the good things that are to come with Coach Morris, and you could feel the energy and the excitement with those guys, and I'm really looking forward to working with all of them.
Yeah, take us through your visit, Ben. Did they do anything special for you? Did they just sit you down and tell you what it's going to be about? Did they take you to a nice seafood dinner? I mean, what was your visit like when you made it to Fayetteville?
Well, I got there kind of around 2 o'clock on Saturday. Was able to sit down with Coach Morris and talk ball Coach Craddock and talk ball for a while, and showed me around. And then Coach Morris got back in town about 4:30, and we went over to the basketball game, and we were able to kind of get a feel with the environment and the fans, and obviously a great fan base. So I was able to see that at the basketball game, and that got me really excited. And then went to dinner after that, and had a great dinner. Got to sit down and talk and talk about things from SMU and things that he thinks we can do at Arkansas. So the visit was great. I love Fayetteville, and I'm looking forward to get up there as soon as possible.
All right, so it's going to be quite a jump, I'm sure going from the AAC to the SEC. I mean, it's a whole new animal, especially in the SEC West. You're an older guy. You're going to be coming in with a lot of experience, but to go into the SEC and making that jump, how do you feel about that, and are you confident in yourself that you'll be able to step right in and be able to compete?
Oh, I'm excited. Playing in the SEC was something I always dreamed about as a kid. It's obviously the best conference in the country, and to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I'm excited for the opportunity to play in that conference, in such a great conference. And it's a test for myself, and I'm excited about the opportunity, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Ben, real quick before we let you get out of here, since the Razorback fans are just now getting to know you, is there anything out there that you want to let the Razorback fans know, that's something about you that not many people know, what they want to expect or need to expect once Ben Hicks goes out on the field and takes those snaps for the Razorbacks?
I'm a high-energy guy. I love football. It's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And, I'm always going to play really hard. I'm going to compete hard every day. So I'm excited, and, whoop big.
And there you have it. Whoop big. There you go, Razorback fans. He's ready. Ben Hicks, the former SMU quarterback, now the newest addition to the Arkansas Razorback football team. Really appreciate you joining us, Ben. Again, congratulations on your decision. Good luck this season. I'm sure we'll be catching up with you later down the road, my man.
Yes, sir. Look forward to talking soon. Thank you.
This is Toyota Tuesday on the morning.
This roster and some good additions as well that have contributed. Barford going one-on-one. Barford gets it.
Market, it's about connections. At NWA Gold, Silver, and Diamonds, we trade on the world's largest diamond.
Arkansas in the midst of an 8-0 run. This game, that's been the case. Williams on a pull-up. Williams knocks it down. He's got 10. Under control, gets into the lane. Just enough separation to get that shot off. Barford, there's the big man, Trey Thompson. That time the big fellow was looking for it. To get into your typical rhythm thus far. They come in averaging 90 a night. Now that guy can get into a rhythm in a hurry. Jalen Barford now with 15 points. And he's starting to take over here in the second half. He's gotten to the rim a couple times. Now using the step back. Inside Bullish in the paint, Grant Williams. Turner's on him, doesn't matter. 3 ball. That time left it short. And now off and running. It's Turner leading the pack. Turner missed it. Follow-up slam by Derek Walker. Defense first bucket for the Gafford. That's a good move by the freshman. They want to see more of that as his game develops polish. 7 points for the freshman. Gafford goes to work on Walker. And a nice jump hook shot. That's a couple of those for that young man. Developing confidence, he's got 9. Barford. Reverse. What a shot by Jalen Barford. 19 points for the senior. Schofield. Got it. A silencer from the corner. Huge answer for Tennessee. Kick out. Open. Daniel. That would have been huge. Now Arkansas off and running. Barford exploding in the front court. Sets up the 3 for Macon. Got it. That is Arkansas basketball, and so is this. Barford. Gafford on a rebound. Yes. Timeout. Tennessee.
one-on-one. Rejected by Gafford. Here come the Razorbacks. Barford all the way, and that'll be a goaltend. Bacon. To Gafford. Thunders one home. Arkansas with the lead. It's so loud in here you can't even hear the whistle, but that is Tennessee ball. This is where Tennessee now, composure. They refuse the ball screen. All eyes are on Macon. Gafford goes and finishes with authority. Here it comes with 5. Macon with 4. Macon at the buzzer. Too strong. Tap up by Jones. No. And we're headed for overtime. Barford. 8 to shoot. Barford in the lane. Yes. No post presence at all without Williams on the floor. Instead, again, a desperation shot, but that time Daniel hits it. Boom. Yes, and our third lead change of the overtime. Macon driving and hits the shot. Beautiful reverse layup by the senior, and then almost a turnover. It is a turnover. Tennessee has had trouble with the inbound. Got to go meet it, be aggressive. Macon, beautiful take. And a timeout call with 2:23 to go. The Razorbacks up 3 in overtime. To a perimeter team here in this overtime. Boom, misfires. Barford got it. Macon on a deep 3. And that might be a dagger. 29 points for Daryl Macon. Desperation. Macon. Rebound Arkansas. Beard on a 3. A dagger, and Arkansas up by 11. 28-8 run. And an offensive foul on Bone. Got to have it if you're the Vols. A bank 3 for Turner. But they have guys who can make.
Welcome back into the Morning Rush. We're going to give our thoughts and opinions to the interview that we just had with Ben Hicks here in just a second. But first, this from Crabtree RV.
Yeah, you want to mark your calendar January 25th through February the 2nd. The Greater Fort Smith RV Boat and Outdoor Show will be at Crabtree RV in Alma. They have the 26,000 square foot indoor showroom. It's going to be packed full with motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, but also bass, ski, and pontoon boats, golf carts, tractors, mowers, four-wheelers, side-by-sides, and the latest outdoor clothing and equipment. It's all in one location, sponsored by Crabtree RV. Kofer's Boat Center, Golf Cars of Fort Smith, Wheeler Power Sports, Jelco Outdoors, Alma Tractor, all going to be there as well. That's January the 25th through February the 2nd at Crabtree RV in Alma. Exit 13 off of I-40. Crabtree RV, it's where your family's dreams come true.
Now that you got to hear from Ben Hicks about his excitement level and what he thinks he's going to be at, anything stand out to you, Tommy?
Some of the same phrasing and verbiage that you've heard from Chad. High energy guy.
High energy.
That kind of stood out from the interview. But, you know, obviously there's a familiarity. I thought the questions you asked about his visit, he went to a basketball game and, you know, what kind of drew him into Fayetteville was some interesting conversation about what he found appealing to Fayetteville. So
I'm also curious about when he comes into how I wish I would have been able to ask him, but just his mentality of like chip on his shoulder. Is it you're going in with something to prove? Because at SMU, you were the starter for the majority of the time you were there. You had some great seasons, at least one great season under Chad Morris. You played really well. You're the leading passer in SMU history. Obviously, that's got to be something that you can put your feather in your cap about. But are you going in knowing that you have to prove something? Because there's a lot of Razorback fans, even according to our poll question, when I asked about the excitement level of Razorback fans, are they excited about Ben Hicks coming in? And 77% of them say, not really. I mean, is he coming into this situation saying, you know what, I haven't earned anything. I got to prove myself to everybody and to this coaching staff that I'm the guy.
Well, of course. But I think there's still just a lot of proving the program has to do to this fan base. I don't think that poll is necessarily a reflection of Ben Hicks. I think it's a reflection of the fact we don't know anything about Ben Hicks. Let's just be honest. It's a reflection about we're so jaded, so beat down as Razorback football fans right now. We take everything with a salt shaker, not a dose, but I mean, as far as, hey, this is the magic elixir that's going to fix the situation. It's been 6 or 7 long seasons right now that the fan base has endured, and right now it's fans. I just don't think you can have one player come in that has been the quarterback at SMU that's going to ignite the fan base. Maybe Kelly Bryant could have done it. If Jalen Hurts magically just decided to come to Arkansas or something, that might do it. But none of those things are reality.
No.
Ben Hicks is the reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
he's going to be your QB1. I mean, unless just something crazy happens,
right?
He's going to be the starting quarterback for Arkansas in 2019. And it's just about getting better than what you saw this past season. And as bad as they were and as terrible as they were, if Ben Hicks can just add another element to the offense, if he can be better than Ty Storey, it'll make the team better, of course, and it'll make the offense better. I don't know how many games it'll make better for Arkansas, but does that at least justify the move, though? If he's better than Ty Storey, does that justify the move of bringing him in?
Absolutely. And you know, you've got to be better in the win column. Hell, you can't be any worse. I mean, two's got to become 5 or 6 at a minimum for the fans to continue to be confident that this head coach has the program going in the right direction, that this program has the right person leading it. There has to be improvement this year, not just from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, 2 to 4. I think there has to be significant improvement in the product on the field, and that's where Ben Hicks has to be that guy. He has to be the straw that stirs the drink. I don't think anyone out there with any reasonable expectations is thinking 7, 8, 9 wins.
Hopefully not.
But you better be, I think, a reasonable expectation with the schedule that's in front of them. This is a winnable schedule as far as the level of reasonable expectation. 5 or 6 wins, I think, is a reasonable expectation. You ended up at 4, it's not a disaster. You end up at 2 or 3 again, that's a disaster. You got to question everything. Is Chad Morris the guy? What's Hunter Yurachek? I mean, everything comes into the question if you end up in that same 2 or 3 win category. 4 might even be in that category.
Depending on how
5's
you got
kind of like my minimum number this year, just based on who you're playing and where you're playing them.
The schedule is definitely favorable, which, of course, last year's schedule was favorable. But, you know, this season you have all of your non-conference games at home, and your toughest one might be Colorado State. You
better win 4 non-conference games this year.
Yeah, you got to go to Kentucky, which I understand Kentucky's a team that won 10 games last year, but they're losing a lot of pieces there, so you never know how they're going to be. Replacing with Vanderbilt. You know, you got the SEC West slate. I mean, there's some options.
You're talking
there.
about winning your non-conference games and 2 SEC games to be bowl eligible.
It shouldn't be too difficult, you wouldn't think, especially to win all of your non-conference games. That's got to be the minimum there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose to Portland State or Western Kentucky or Colorado State. I mean, you just can't do it this year. You can't have that type of year. And like the point that was brought up, and the fact that Ben Hicks in his second game as quarterback, you have to travel on the road to Ole Miss, a team that you should have beaten last year.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, you probably would have beaten them last year if Ty Storey could have remained in the game instead of Cole Kelly coming in and doing Cole Kelly things. But if he would have stayed in the game, you know, who knows how that would have ended up and how different the season would have been.
I think if you can leave spring with Ben Hicks as your quarterback or whoever it is, you would assume it's Ben Hicks. That's why he's coming.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about at length the fact that the quarterback battle drew on for so long into August and into September. How far did that possibly set the team back in hindsight by just not choosing a guy, putting all your time, all the snaps, all the development into one guy, whether it was Cole Kelly or Ty Storey? Ty proved to be the better quarterback of those two in the end. would this be a whole different conversation this morning? Would we have even been talking to Ben Hicks this morning, talking about Ben Hicks? Had that happened and the way they unfolded things with Ty Storey had been different in early August last year? I tend to think it would be.
Well, that's something that we've discussed many times on this show, and I think we're all in agreement that was a detrimental move of having the quarterback situation play out the way it did. I don't think there's any question about it. And that started making a lot of fans question Chad Morris in the get-go of saying, if this guy can't see that Ty Storey is the best quarterback that they got right now, right here, then what is the evaluation going to look like for the future?
So if you don't make that mistake again, as far as you're going to put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, as far as prepping one guy, I think that would have gotten you through a couple of games last year. You end up coming up short. I think probably would have helped you get over the hump with Colorado State.
Yeah.
I know North Texas, the final score looks atrocious. You're like, wouldn't have mattered. Well, when the quarterback comes in and turns it over the way Cole Kelly did in the first half of that game, maybe a different quarterback would not have had that rough a first half, and that game doesn't unfold the way it does.
Yeah. Ty Storey didn't even play that game. Like Cole Kelly started, and he threw, 6 total interceptions by all quarterbacks, but
4 in the first half.
By 4 by Cole Kelly.
Right.
So, yeah, and I agree with you. Because, listen, say what you want about Ty Storey, but I could almost promise you he wouldn't have thrown 4 interceptions in the first half.
Right.
He just wasn't that type of player.
My point is, in hindsight, the handling of the quarterbacks was a mistake, as it appears, in year one, in the lead up to the season. I don't think that's going to happen again. Chad Morris is a smart guy. He's not going to. It appears he's got the guy he wants now.
Yeah.
So.
And hey,
I think that would have. I'm just saying that would have made the difference in a win or two this past season. I believe. I can't substantiate that. I just believe that's the way it would have been, and I've got to believe that's going to result in at least 2 more wins this year. You find a way to win a conference game or 2, and you're back in the bowl game.
Yep.
And I think people are nodding their head up now, saying, "All right,
let's see how this goes."
I'm on board with this guy, this Chad Morris guy.
Yep, you got to make progress though. You got to take that next step,
and that would be progress.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, hey, Ben Hicks can go in his second game of the season on the road to Ole Miss and find a way to get a victory. That's going to get a lot of people on board early too, going on the road to an SEC team. But they got it at the end of the day, at the end of the season. They got to have that win total at a much higher mark than just 2 wins. Get it to 5, get it to 6. Hey, I think a lot of people will buy into what Chad Morris is selling, even though a lot of people are struggling with that right now. 877-377-6963 is the number to call in. More of the Morning Rush coming up next.
It's time to start.
Very quick turnaround for our basketball team. I think this is our first Big Tuesday game, and playing against one of the better teams in the country. I think they're playing as good as anyone in the country right now, and they had a great non-conference schedule. I think they lost overtime to Kansas, and of course returning with Grant Williams, the Player of the Year in our league last year, as well as a guy that's playing really well, Schofield. And if you recall, those guys starting out as young freshmen, and took some bumps along the way, and now they're one of the more experienced combo. But they have more than just Williams. The Bowen kid, the Bowen and Bone kid, guys that have played meaningful minutes. So it's an experienced team, and we get the challenge of going and playing them at their place. And coming off of a tough overtime loss to LSU, we'll find out more about the makeup of our basketball team. And as I told our guys, I'm not discouraged anyway, because in every game we play, we've been right there, and just got to continue to try to make those plays that convert you into winning. And I think our bench is going to be a big part of that. Our bench has to come in and play at a high level in the first half and even the second half, and enable the guys to finish off the game, to finish it off strong. I think there's some guys out there playing tired and trying to play through it. But again, Tennessee, very good basketball team, playing well. Welcome to the SEC family. Every game is a big game, and this is another big game on our schedule. So, to me, it's a great opportunity. It's a tremendous challenge, but we'll go in there with the understanding that they're a good team and we're a good basketball team.
Mike, you look at the box from the last time you guys played there a couple of years ago. you don't have anybody left who played in that game. They got a bunch of guys who were freshmen or sophomores, and now they're juniors and seniors. Just how tough is that to have such a young team having to play at their place when they're so experienced?
Well, this is new for our guys, having an opportunity to go and play against one of the better teams at their place. So we will find out more about our basketball team. I think that's, to me, what it's all about. Is you're going to play against some great teams, and let's find out where we are. So I think our guys are looking forward to the opportunity, the challenge of going playing, and as I said, they're a very physical basketball team, and I think that's one thing we've got to match their physicality. You know, they shoot it and go get it. They shoot at a high percentage. They're one of the leading assist teams in the country, but that's what you call, just the process. I think that's the process, and I think Rick has trust the process. I think those kids have trust the process, and now they're playing as one of the better teams in the country.
How different? I mean, Grant Williams, he's a junior now. I mean, you saw those guys as young guys. Now they're men. I mean, how different? Same players, but it's a lot different teams.
Well, again, you can't teach experience, and it's a process you got to go through it. And those guys went through it. They took some lumps early on in those years, but we saw.
Welcome back into the Morning Rush. Appreciate everybody listening in this morning. Tonight, the Arkansas Razorbacks will take on the Tennessee Volunteers. Basketball in Knoxville should be an interesting game. We'll see if the Razorbacks can hold true. But if you need a place to watch the game, there's no better place in the Fayetteville area than Sassy's Red House, and off of College and off of Weddington with their two different locations. That's where Mic'd Up with Mike Anderson is set up throughout the season. And so they already have the setup for a great basketball atmosphere. If you want to go out there, try some of their great food options that they have. If you're feeling some barbecue, they got you set up. That's what they're known for. They're known for their barbecue. But what's great about Sassy's is, as good as their barbecue is, they have other options as well. So if there's someone in your group that, I'm not a big barbecue fan, but I love burgers, they have amazing burgers. Maybe they don't love burgers, but they love wraps. They have wraps. Maybe they are not a big fan of any of those things, but they want to go with something like catfish. Feeling a little froggy, going with the catfish. They have great catfish there at Sassy's. Whatever your needs may be, go and check it out tonight for the Razorback basketball game as Arkansas takes on Tennessee. The game's going to be on ESPN2. They have a bunch of TVs there at Sassy's to be able to watch the game in its entirety, so be sure to check it out if you're in the Fayetteville area at Sassy's off of College and off of Weddington. We're going to be catching up with Josh Ward of Sports Radio WNML in Knoxville on the other side of the break here to be able to talk to him about Arkansas and Tennessee. And we alluded to it a little bit, but it's amazing how good Tennessee is and how surprising it is to so many of us, where when the new flux of coaches started coming into the SEC, which I think is what's elevated the game in the SEC across the board. But when you saw guys like Ben Howland to Mississippi State, Rick Barnes to Tennessee, Bruce Pearl to Auburn, Frank Martin to South Carolina. I know they all didn't come in the same year, but it just seems like there was a lot of those coaches flooding in, that everything's been elevated. And Rick Barnes coming from Texas, he had a lot of success there. I mean, he was able to coach some great players, Kevin Durant being one of those key ideal players that they were able to get from Washington. So that had a great season with him. But I didn't really think that Rick Barnes, being older, would be able to have this amount of success this quickly at Tennessee, given the way that it was ending at Texas. It wasn't he was a bad coach and it was completely falling on its face, but he wasn't having the same level of success at Texas that he once was.
No, and we've seen just an uptick at a lot of programs across the SEC. Tennessee being one of them that's had the greatest rise, because obviously they're a potential and looks like a likely number one seed if they continue on this trend. Final Four team. I don't know if they'll win it all. I mean, I still have a hard time believing Tennessee in the end's got what it takes, to beat the Blue Bloods of it all. But we'll see. I mean,
NCAA tournament's a funny thing.
It is. So, but Tennessee is clearly right now the best team in the SEC, and I think this year it means a little bit more than it's meant in most of the last 5 years. But you're better than Kentucky. Kentucky's not even the second best team in this league.
No.
Maybe not the third best team in this league.
They're not the Kings anymore.
I know, it's close. I mean, it's Mississippi State. I mean, it's early.
It's early in SEC play.
I wouldn't bet any money that they won't be in the SEC tournament final.
Yeah. They get it going at the right time in the SEC tournament for some reason.
You know what's wild about that is not only I'm just a fan, so obviously when I lived in Nashville and went down there the bars around Bridgestone Arena make their employees wear Kentucky stuff, and they just plaster it in Kentucky stuff.
Well, I mean,
I've been there.
I'm not surprised.
I mean, it's 2/3. I mean, that may be different this year.
Oh, that's low.
I don't know. I've been twice to the event, and that's about what. But by the weekend, they scoop up all the tickets.
Two championships I went to that Arkansas was in.
Well,
probably 90% Kentucky.
Yeah, by the end of the weekend, you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, World of Wireless, 877-305-DISH. Call right now. Lock in your price for 2 years when you call WOW. Now you get local installation from a great crew that's going to take care of you. Also, with Ben and his crew, it's a local company. So not only do you get a local installer, but you get a local company you're going to deal with. So anytime there's a question, a concern, you don't understand your bill, don't understand your package, want to upgrade your package, change your channels plan, they can help you with that as well. 877-305-DISH. Be installed before this weekend with World of Wireless.
Winter is actually a good time to paint that room you've been meaning to get to for a while now. And the folks at
the maturity take place, and of course Rick has added some really quality pieces. The Alexander kid has turned into a really good player. I mean, people don't talk about him, but I think he's a big key to what they do, and they've added some depth with their bench. But I think those guys that you talk about, those are the guys, the core guys for them, as well as Bowen and Boyne and Bone. Those guys are really good basketball players. The Turner kid, I mean, he's one of those guys that have been there through freshmen, and so we're at that stage right now with a lot of young guys, and so the process they have to go through it, and sometimes there's some hard knocks, some tough losses. And I say I can look at every one of our games, and you look at the free throw lines, you look at the turnovers, the rebounding, and we're just a few plays away. And so, can we get over that hurdle? And of course, it's going to be a big hurdle going against the Tennessee team, but it's one we look forward to.
As physical as they are, what are Chaney and Gabe going to have to do off the bench to help out Daniel and just in general?
I believe those guys are going to have to bring us some efficient, some quality minutes. I think you're going to have to do some blue collar things. That's what this game is going to be about: blue collar, defending, loose balls, keeping them off the boards, putting bodies on them. Maybe getting them in foul trouble. We've been pretty good about really. Attacking and getting to the basket, and so it's going to be important that we be strong with the basketball, and the biggest thing is on the road you got to have some poise, but no question about it, our guards have got to rebound. And not only Reggie and Gabe, Daniel, Adrio, I think all our guys got to. It's like all hands on deck when you go against a team that's playing as well as Tennessee is right now.
Just what's he going to have to do? Because I gather teams are chasing him all over the 3-point line. What's he going to have to do to get on track?
I think he's got to, we got to do a better job of getting screens for him, getting him open. We saw him actually cutting and curling to the basket.
Do the morning rush on a Toyota Tuesday. Be sure to check out all new 2019 Toyota vehicles at your local Arkansas Toyota dealer, including the Highlander with plenty of room up to 8 people, the stylish new Corolla, the work-ready family tough Tundra, and the go-anywhere 4Runner. Toyota, let's go places. Arkansas taking on the Tennessee Volunteers tonight in Knoxville. The number 3 Tennessee Volunteers, I think they're better than number 3. Anytime you're able to beat the number 1 team in Gonzaga, I think that they're probably better than what the ranking's going to show, but we'll see how it plays out. They play them tonight, 6 p.m. on ESPN2, and to help us break that down a little more, let's welcome in on the phone lines Josh Ward. He is host of Sports Radio, WNML in Knoxville, Tennessee. Really appreciate you joining us this morning, Josh. How you doing?
Hey, doing well. Great to be with you.
It's good to be with you, man, and we got a lot to get to. Obviously, Tennessee, number 3 in the country right now, 14-1. Their only loss was to Kansas, which if that's your only loss on the season, it's probably going pretty well for you. And we'll just start right there with what Tennessee has done so far this year. You cover the team. You know the team well. Are you surprised even about how good Tennessee has been this season and beating the teams that they have beaten so far this year?
To the level that Tennessee has played, yes. I thought Tennessee would be a really good team. I thought Tennessee was deserving of a preseason top 10 ranking. And if that's the case, then the expectation is that Tennessee is going to be really good. But as you mentioned, Tennessee's only loss is against Kansas. It was in overtime. It was on a neutral court. Tennessee didn't have Grant Williams in overtime in that loss against Kansas. And then in every other game, Tennessee has just been incredibly impressive in different ways. It was a close win against Gonzaga, and you win by one, and it's a huge win. And in every other game, Tennessee has, I think, clearly been the better team. The Florida game this past weekend was a lot closer than the 11-point final score or margin of victory for Tennessee. That came down to the wire. It was a tough road environment that Tennessee was able to get the win in, and Tennessee shot 53% from the field. Florida shot 35%. So when Tennessee was really challenged, it still outplayed the Gators in their arena. Tennessee has been it's been an improved basketball team in every area with pretty much every player, and that's why Tennessee is a top 3 team right now.
And you went through it, but how has Rick Barnes done it so fast in 4 years to get to a nationally elite level? Go a little deeper on how Rick Barnes has built this program to being one of the top in the country so quickly.
Well, the class that he and his staff brought in that included Grant Williams was just a huge home run. And at the time, not much was thought of it because you didn't have any highly touted players coming in. But they've all turned out to be better than expected. Grant Williams would be the most notable player there, but Jordan Bone and Jordan Bowden would be included in that conversation, the way that they've developed. Admiral Schofield went from being a guy that, when he arrived to Tennessee, the thought was, okay, he can be a nice role player in the SEC, to becoming one of the best players in the conference as well. And the reason that has occurred, and I say reasons plural, is because there's a pretty special group, I think, in terms of the mindset and the work ethic these players have. The coaches deserve all kinds of credit for the development. But if you think about it, Tennessee doesn't have a player that in their final ranking in their class, at least if you look at composite rankings, I believe, not a single player that was ranked inside the top 100 as a recruit. So from a recruiting standpoint, none of these guys were highly touted, heavily recruited. But a bunch of these guys are going to be pursued by either NBA teams or pro teams. That tells you about the development. Another player would be Kyle Alexander. He will matter a lot in this Arkansas game, I think. He arrived as a project player from Canada and has developed into one of the better post players in the SEC.
See with Josh Ward, host of Sports Radio WNML there in Knoxville here on the Morning Rush. Josh, obviously the team like Tennessee, if they're sitting at the ranking they have and sitting with the record they have, they're a great team. But what would you say is their biggest strength? Is it just shooting? Is it their defense? I mean, what is the thing that has really put them and set them apart from the rest of the teams that they have been playing?
I would say it's their efficiency on offense. Tennessee has been very good overall. They're not perfect all the time, who is, but at doing what the coaches ask of them offensively, and with guys like Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield, as their games have developed, they have size to make plays around the basket. Their range has improved, especially Admiral. He's been a consistent and reliable three-point shooter over the last couple of seasons. And when the ball runs through their two best players who can play in a number of different spots on the court, that really opens things up for everybody else. And it does get back to the development and the improvement of other players, especially in the backcourt, because I think that was the biggest question going into the season. And so far the answer there has been very good. But I would say offensively, the efficiency that Tennessee has in the way that it runs its offense, and for the most part, getting really good shots, whether that's from two-point range or the outside. And Tennessee at the beginning of the season was not shooting nearly as well as it did last year from the outside, but Lamonte Turner's come back, an important player off the bench, Sixth Man of the Year last year in the league, and he's a pretty reliable three-point shooter. That has gotten better, and if that continues to improve, then Tennessee could actually be an even better team moving forward.
When you think about the University of Tennessee, you think about volunteer football, you think about Pat Summitt and women's basketball. Men's basketball doesn't come to mind at the top of the list. How has the fan base embraced this, and are people gravitating? Is there a rising tide when it comes to volunteer basketball right now?
There really is. It's incredible to watch. I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, Tennessee hosted Tennessee Tech, which is not a good basketball team by any means. It was a Saturday in between Christmas and New Year's, and the place was almost full. You had fans at the very top row in the arena. That was for a game against a team that Tennessee was going to beat by 40 points in the middle of a busy Saturday afternoon. That was a tougher ticket, the Tennessee Tech game was, than several Tennessee football games from this past season. And Tennessee football is still king. It's a football school. but the support for basketball has been better than I even expected. And I think a big part of that is also asking why Tennessee's program has developed. I think it's real that it's a good group of guys. It's a team that has shown its personality, that has connected with the fan base, and the fan base has noted. So right now, Tennessee fans who are also really hungry to see success, partly because of football's lack of success, fans are very eager to see big-time performance, no matter the sport, and basketball is providing that right now, and Tennessee fans are showing the support. They've sold out a number of SEC games. Arkansas is close to being that. It's going to be a packed house at Thompson-Boling Arena for sure.
Well, Josh, let's talk about the game tonight. Obviously, Arkansas is coming off of 2 back-to-back losses at Bud Walton Arena against Florida and LSU. Very rare that Arkansas has those types of losses at home, but that's where they're sitting at right now. If, and that's a big if, Arkansas is going to go into Tennessee and upset the Tennessee Volunteers in a manner that probably is going to shock a lot of people, what are they going to have to do, and what is Tennessee going to have to not do in order for Arkansas to pull off an upset?
Well, I think being sound on defense, when I mentioned the efficiency that Tennessee plays with on offense, they get really good shots from a number of different spots on the floor. Arkansas can't make mistakes. They need to take care of the basketball as well, I would say, that because Tennessee's defense, as it's improved, I think part of that as well has been with forcing turnovers but making plays off mistakes by the opponent. Tennessee did that effectively against Florida a number of times, especially there near the end of the game this past Saturday. And then you got to stay out of foul trouble and try to get Grant Williams in foul trouble if you can, just because he's such a good player. Now, he struggled with that against Missouri last week. Grant Williams had only 4 points. He was 1 of 8 from the field and fouled out in 22 minutes. Tennessee still won by 24 points on the road. But I think this Arkansas team is better than Missouri. And then I don't have to break any news here that Daniel Gafford's going to need to play really well. If he has a huge game, then that can maybe lead Arkansas on a chance to pull off an upset. But beating Tennessee is not easy right now. That's pretty obvious considering the only loss is in overtime against Kansas.
All right, before we let you get out of here, Josh, I got to ask you a football question, man. This story with Tennessee bringing back Jim Chaney as the offensive coordinator, it seems like he's gone full circle now with Tennessee. Just your overall thoughts on that hire made by Jeremy Pruitt and how the fans feel about Jim Chaney making his way back to Tennessee.
Yeah, I do think it's a good hire for Tennessee, largely because Jim Chaney is somebody who should fit in with what head coach Jeremy Pruitt wants to do. He wants to run the football. He wants to be balanced. Who doesn't want to, and what's your definition of balance? Ask Mike Leach about that. But I think Tennessee wants to be a power-running team, and that's not going to be easy right away, but Jim Chaney understands how to do that. I think it helps Tennessee that he knows the SEC. He's been at Tennessee before. He's been at Arkansas. He's been at Georgia the last 3 years. Tennessee needs better players, though. They need a better offensive line, and Tennessee is spending a lot of money to make this happen. It's a $5.3 million investment from Tennessee when you include the contract plus the buyout to get Jim Chaney away from Georgia. So with that, there will be even higher expectations moving forward. But it was a long coaching search to find a new offensive coordinator, and in the end, I think Tennessee fans are really excited to have Jim Chaney back. Tennessee didn't have much success the last time he was the offensive coordinator under Lane Kiffin and Derek Dooley. Obviously, Vol fans are hoping for a different outcome this time.
Guess we'll see how it plays out. Josh Ward, host of Sports Radio WNML in Knoxville. Really appreciate you joining us, Josh. Have fun at the game tonight, man. We'll be catching up with you later down the road.
Hey, you got it. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it, man. 877-377-6963 is the number to call in. Got to take a commercial break, but before we do, Tommy's going to tell you about Gaston's.
Yeah, fishing's great right now at Gaston's White River Resort, and 40% off with winter rates in effect right now through the end of February. So call and make your reservation, whether it's for a weekend, whether it's for Super Bowl weekend, or whether it's for a Valentine's weekend getaway. They can help you at Gaston's. 870-431-5202. Little fishing report. They've been consistently running 8 generators, 8 units on the White River from the Bull Shoals Dam. So fishing's been really good. Great winter fishing for big brown trout right now. So if you like to go catch the browns, great, whether you're spin casting, whether you're bait fishing, or whether you like to do fly fishing. Either way, it's been really good right now. If you're fly fishing, streamers seem to be working according to the guides up there. White egg patterns, jigs, San Juan worms, all working right now there at Gaston's. If you don't understand exactly any of that or that some of that you want to learn about, book one of their guides. If all of that makes sense, call Gaston's and make sure you make your reservation right now. Great browns, great rainbows being caught on the great waters of the White River. It's one of the premier trout streams in all of North America, and you won't find a better resort to enjoy the great trout fishing that you'll find at Gaston's White River Resort. 870-431-5202. That's 870-431-5202 at Gaston's White River Resort. 40% off with winter rates right now at Gaston's. Online at gastons.com as well for more details. Gaston's White River Resort. A first-class time every time.
This is to be able to make plays when he does that. You know, a couple of times he went in there, and I think as he curled, he lost the ball. But he's got to be constant in motion. You know, the fast break, pushing in there, and people are going to start paying a lot of attention. I think Daniel's been the recipient of that because they're spacing the floor in terms of trying to cover Isaiah, they're covering Mason over here, and it's opened up the lanes that J5 can get in there, and we're moving Daniel around. So now Daniel is a recipient of that. But I think he just got to continue to work, and I think got to watch him from the minutes he's playing. I think sometimes young guys kind of hit a little wall in terms of being tired, and so I think Keyshawn and Desi and coming off the bench, I think they got to be very critical going down the stretch here. So we got to put those guys in and let them have some meaningful minutes. And I think we're seeing they're playing more consistent now. And that's the key with young guys. Can they be consistent? Can Reggie give us that night in and night out where he is a threat out there? I think Desi is playing pretty good basketball for us right now. Can we get Keyshawn more minutes out there on the floor? And I think what that'll help is help those guys starting out in the game get some rest.
And Mike, what have you thought of Mason's first 3 games? He had some big shots at A&M, and he's been pretty consistently aggressive, I guess, the last 2 home games.
I think Mason's starting to figure it out. They've been guarding him really hard. They scouted these guys, and they were guarding them really hard. And I think with most good players, they figure out, how to maximize what teams are doing to him. And if you notice, he's getting to the free throw line. The last 2 games, I think he's gotten to the free throw line almost 20 times. And so that obviously continues the scoring that we need on our basketball team. And I think he's moving without the ball, cutting to the hole and getting layups. So we're getting, I think, into the more up tempo we get, I think the more you'll see him continue to be a threat. He's learning. I think he's learning. But the one thing I want them to always understand that is it's inside out. And the more we start, I think, attacking the basket, getting the ball to Daniel, I think it opens it up for him. And I think that's what is taking place.
With the free throws, do you think it's starting to get mental with the guys that are kind of pressing? Because Mason's obviously shooting well, but even guys you expect to shoot pretty well like Jalen and Isaiah have missed some. You think it's getting to be mental at all?
We're working on them. I think we're working on it. Let me put it that way. They're working extremely every day to get better, and I feel it. I got a feeling it'll get better. I really, really do. It's been the thing that. If you think there's something that's probably been the shortcoming of this team right now, it's probably making free throws and critical free throws. And as you said, guys that should be making them. And it's the difference between winning and losing games. And I think we've been in that position. So you just got to continue to work on it and just continue to encourage those guys.
Daniel, he got the 4th foul again the other day, but he played a long time without fouling out. What did he do? I mean, I guess is that just maturity, being smart, kind of knowing when to be aggressive, when not to? Or
yeah.
What do you think of how he was able to not get the 5th foul?
He's done that a couple of games. The last couple of games he's had 4 fouls, and he played better with 4. I think I don't know, even A&M, I think he got 4 fouls, but he's got to be smart enough. Even the 3rd one he shouldn't have gotten. That's where he's got to get smart. The 3rd one, I think we had some momentum going, and I think he deflected the ball and he dove at the ball. I mean, he wasn't going to come up with it, so just let him have it. And that's the thing about our team right now is that in the LSU, I thought we had a lot of momentum plays that we didn't take advantage of. We had the crowd in it. We were really doing some pretty good things, and then we kind of went away from it, and whether it be a turnover or just a bad play. And so we got to learn to capitalize. So, but that's the experience part of it. You got to go through some things in order to learn them and to understand what we're trying to do. And that's what we do with the tape. We'll go and break down the tape, and we'll sit down and have sessions with the team and with individuals, and just try to use it as a learning experience for them, and as we go forward.
You know, Mike, at A&M, I think all of Mason's shots, I think he took 11 threes. Was there a conversation where you wanted him to maybe attack the rim more, or did it just kind of click with him that that's what he knew he needed to do?
Well, we're not just going to be a team that's going to jack up threes and settle. You know, I think that was the conversation. And even when you think about the Florida game, I think half our shots were three-point shots. And that's not who we are. We're an attacking team. And I think when you attack or start inside out, when you got a guy of size such as Daniel, a guy who's not a black hole. I mean, he makes great passes out of the post, and but if you start understanding, you play to win. You don't just play to play. And so, without a doubt, he hadn't shot many free throws, and so all of a sudden now he's shooting free throws, and he's doing more than just standing on the perimeter, just letting it fly.
Mike, I know you guys.
Russian is presented by Williams Tractor.
Yeah, it's time for the Kick the Tires event right now at Williams Tractor in Fayetteville and in Berryville. Not too early to start planning for the upcoming season. Special in-store deals and financing options on all New Holland equipment. We're talking tractors, hay and forage equipment, harvesting, seeding, spraying, and construction equipment. It all ends on March 31st with these special deals, so stop by Williams Tractor in Fayetteville and in Berryville.
So we were talking with Josh Ward in the previous segment about Arkansas and Tennessee tonight, and I just don't see any way that Arkansas finds a way to get a victory and upset the Volunteers. I think they're just too good. But the thing you got to look at from Arkansas, and it's not like they've played teams to the quality of Tennessee, but even in Arkansas's losses, they've all been pretty close games. I mean, of course, you had the Texas game to start off the season where Arkansas lost in overtime by 2. Then they lost by 1 to Western Kentucky, then by 4 to Georgia Tech, by 6 to Florida. Ended up being, I believe it was a 6-point loss to LSU, but it went to overtime, probably was closer than that. So, anyways, the fact of the matter is, even in Arkansas's losses, they've been really competitive. And I don't know if that's even going to be the case tonight. I mean, you're going to have to say that Daniel Gafford's going to have the best game that he's probably played this season. Mason Jones is going to have to come in and score 20 points himself. Isaiah Joe's going to have to hit 5 threes. I mean, you're going to have to ask a lot for this Razorback team to come in and have an upset against one of the best teams in the country. I
don't want to say it's like playing Alabama in football, but it's like playing LSU or playing Auburn or someone really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to play perfect.
And they got to play bad.
And they've got to turn the ball over a lot. Their best players have to get in early foul trouble. You've got to shoot like 80-something% as a team at the free throw line. You've got to shoot 60-something% from the floor as a team. Gafford's got to have another career. I mean, everything has to go your way. Odds are that's not going to happen. Arkansas's capable. Just, I think Tennessee's better. It's the problem.
Is there anything that you can see from the game, even if Arkansas loses tonight, that'll say, all right, well, I mean, if they play at least well, keep it close?
I mean, if you went in there and, played them within 10, his 6 or 8 point game in the last minute, had a chance to foul, they'd miss some free throws, you'd go make a 3 or something, You got to have Isaiah Joe get back on track. You've got to have several things happen for all of that to unfold, to have a chance in the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, there's going to be a few things that have to transpire, and I think that one of the things is Reggie Chaney and the way he played in the previous game against LSU. You're hoping that somebody can step up in that other position. I know Adrio Bailey, I don't know what happened to him. He started off fairly well this season. I don't think anyone's expecting him to be an all-star player, but they expected him to be a nice addition and somebody who had experience, especially from the previous years. But I don't know if the Space Jam thing where the Monsters stole his talent, I don't know. He's just not been playing well. And Reggie Chaney, in this past game, he really stepped up, and you like the way that he looks. You're hoping that maybe he can find a way into that role. But you can rely on Daniel Gafford to be consistent. You can rely on Mason Jones. If Isaiah Joe can get it going, if Jalen Ayers can have a bunch of assists, that's fine. But you got to have somebody else. You got to have somebody else step up. Whether it's Reggie Chaney or Desi Seals or whoever, somebody's got to step up into that role and to be able to make some plays offensively and defensively. Gabe Osabuohien, he's just known for really right now for playing some solid defense, hustle plays, and taking charges. So you don't want him shooting the ball. You don't want him scoring. You want him to be Dennis Rodman. You want him to go just down there and be dirty. So that's fine. And if he's able to do that at a consistent level, then that is what works with you. You just got to get all the pieces going together if you're Arkansas and to be able to count on these guys, especially defensively. So if they go in tonight against Tennessee, and I'm with you, Tommy, if they keep it within single digits going into the final minute of the game, I think that's never about moral victories, but it's about playing well against really good teams, and maybe that can add some confidence to this team and be able to bounce back. But even in their losses, they've been close for Arkansas. They've been just a few free throws away from winning. I don't know if that's going to be the case against Tennessee tonight, but just keep it close. Keep it competitive. Keep Daniel Gafford out of foul trouble, because I guarantee you, listen, Rick Barnes is a great coach. You don't think he knows what he's going to have to do against Arkansas? You don't think he knows that if he can get Daniel Gafford into some foul trouble, that it's going to cause some problems? Or that he knows that if he shuts down Isaiah Joe from the three-point line, it's going to really limit their three-point shooting? He knows all these things. And Arkansas is just going to have to go in there with a game plan and try to counteract that. I don't know if it'll be enough, but Tennessee, with the great players that they have, with the great depth, it's just about keeping it close. And Arkansas is probably going to end up 1-3 after tonight, and then heading to Ole Miss this weekend. Really don't. If you're sitting at 1-4, coming back with a return trip against Missouri, that's not a situation anyone wants to find themselves in, especially when after Missouri, you go on the road to Texas Tech, who, by the way, is a top 10 caliber team. So you could be looking at a situation where Arkansas could really get behind the 8 ball really early. So they got to get it going.
Then do you lose confidence? Does it start to spiral? Becomes a real problem then.
Yeah, and then you don't really know if you're Mike Anderson.
Can you get it back?
How are you going to get it back? Don't really know. But it'll come down to tonight and how the Razorbacks play. That is for sure. 877-377-6963 is the number to call in. More of the Morning Rush coming up in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
Arkansas can get him a free look, or he can step into a shot. It's a free look for Tennessee, and knocked down. The triple buried by Daniel. Daniel comes in shooting 41% from 3. Tennessee 6 of 10 overall from behind the arc. And Macon responds. They're going into the 32. Ball screen for Macon. Pull up, 3 ball. Got it. What a big shot for Daryl Macon in Arkansas. And Macon leading the way with 13 points. A first half roll in which very important here in the second half. The play under control. Barford under control on that baseline drive. The senior has 9. Up top, Bone. Rise and fire 3, and he knocks it down right in the face of Beard. There's that stepping into the 3 again. High percentage shot. Look at that drive by Daryl Macon. That's where Arkansas gets you. Pull-up jumper. Bowden feeling it. And hey, if you're a member of the Club 165, you got to shoot, right?
Absolutely. And again, rhythm jumper going to his right off the bounce. He feels comfortable shooting that shot. Confidence building here in the second half for Bowden.
Offensive rebound and a little hook shot, and Gafford wills it in. Daniel Gafford has been kind of quiet, had some foul trouble in the first half. That time makes some noise with a rejection. Out of bounds, Arkansas basketball. Beard right now just dribbling, not going anywhere, and then settles for a deep 3 and hits. Well, that'll work. And that will ignite this Arkansas sellout crowd.
Improvement all over this roster, and some good additions as well that have contributed.
Barford going one-on-one. Barford gets it to drop. That was all the Jalen Barford show. Arkansas in the midst of an 8-0 run. This game's that's been the case. Williams on a pull-up. Williams knocks it down. He's got 10.
Under control, gets into the lane. Just enough separation to get that shot off.
Barford, there's the big man, Trey Thompson. That time the big fellow was looking for it. To get into your typical rhythm thus far, they come in averaging 90 a night. Now that guy can get into a rhythm in a hurry. Jalen Barford now with 15 points.
And he's starting to take over here in the second half. He's gotten to the rim a couple times. Now using the step back.
Inside, Bullish in the paint. Grant Williams. Turner's on him. Doesn't matter. 3 ball. And that time.
Games I've ever seen.
The Morning Rush starts right now.
2 hours down, 1 hour to go. Appreciate everybody listening in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. John Neighbors, Tommy Kraft, Ty Richardson, all in studio with you today. And thank you, as always, for making us a part of your morning this morning on Toyota Tuesday. Be sure to check out all new 2019 Toyota vehicles at your local Arkansas Toyota dealer, including the Highlander with plenty of room up to 8 people, the stylish new Corolla, the work-ready family tough Tundra, and the Go Anywhere 4Runner. Toyota, let's go places. We've been talking a lot about the newest addition to the Arkansas Razorback football team, Ben Hicks. Quarterback coming in as a grad transfer, will have 1 year of eligibility. We had an interview that we played earlier in the show. We'll be playing it back here in about half an hour, so be sure to check it out in case you missed it. And one of the things that I put out on Twitter and just simply asking Razorback fans, does the addition of the quarterback Ben Hicks to Razorback football excite you for the 2019 season? 79% of you say, you're going to wait and see. 21% of you say that you are extremely pumped up to know that Ben Hicks is going to be the next quarterback, which there's a lot of layers to this whole thing as far as excitement goes. Because, again, we on this show, and I think most of you, probably have not watched a lot of SMU football the past couple of seasons. I'm just guessing. Unless you're an SMU fan, you probably did not sit down and say, I can watch some SEC teams or I can watch SMU. Probably did not do that. So we're just going to have to go off of what Ben Hicks' stats. He has some film that's on YouTube that you can check out as well. You're going to have to just take all those pieces together and try to figure out, okay, what can this guy be? Can he be better than what we saw last year at the quarterback position with Ty Story and Cole Kelly and Connor Nolan and all those guys? Can this true senior come in who has experience with Chad Morris, played under him for a couple of seasons, had some pretty nice success under him, especially his final year at SMU where he threw for over 3,500 yards and 33 touchdowns. Can he mimic that success at Arkansas? And can he be better than what Arkansas had at the quarterback position last year? It's a difficult question, and it might be one of those things that we don't really understand or can really see until, of course, the season gets started. But I think that Chad Morris, he wouldn't bring in this guy if he didn't know that he was going to be QB1.
And he's seen him throw for a lot of yards. What'd you mention, 9,000 yards?
Yeah.
Now,
SMU's leading passer.
Touchdowns and interceptions, you know.
He's got a lot of picks. He does have that.
You know, and we talked about his nickname yesterday.
Yeah.
But, you know, the guy's got the physical skills, the physical abilities. The question is, can he do it at the SEC level? Because if they thought he could do it at the SEC level coming out of high school, he probably would have never been to SMU, right?
That's right.
So has he developed enough? You know, because there's guys that just their game doesn't develop till they're 19 or 20 or 21, or whatever. And now maybe he is developed. That's what you're hoping if you're a Razorback fan. The thing is, you're going to have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, spring ball will tell us more. So we've got another couple of months to kind of put another piece to this puzzle together. We just know what he did at SMU.
Yeah, last season, Ty Story completed 57% of his passes for 1,584 yards, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and he was sacked 19 times.
Well, if Ben Hicks doesn't get some help with the offensive line being much improved, and if the wide receivers don't do a better job of getting off the line of scrimmage at the snap and becoming a productive part as a unit of this offense, it doesn't matter who you have back there.
The play will be doomed from the start.
Right.
And I just don't know really how you can say, given the pieces around him, I think the wide receiver core will be better this season than it was last season, just because anytime you add freshman phenom wide receivers, I think that's probably the easiest position as a true freshman to step right in and be an impact player.
Mm-hmm.
But the offensive line is really what it comes down to, where I don't know if it's going to be better. You wouldn't think it would be better than what it was last year, and last year it was atrocious.
If you think it will be better, tell me why.
Yeah, like where can you point to say that the offensive line will be better? I don't know, because you lost 3 guys from that offensive line.
3 of the better guys on a poor offensive line.
Yeah, that's not going to be moving the needle for many people.
That had no depth.
No. And you do have some running backs there, which is nice. You have a really good tight end in C.J. O'Grady and a freshman phenom tight end that's going to be coming in, and Hudson Henry. So, I mean, you have some of the skill position players involved, and you have some of those guys that you might be able to work with. But it's really going to come down to the offensive line. And the reason I read Ty Storey's stat line out was not to ridicule, it's just to ask the simple question of, can Ben Hicks be better than what we saw from Ty Storey last year?
That's the only thing that matters, right?
That is.
This Ben Hicks thing is not a success unless he's better than Ty Storey. Not Ty Storey last year, better than Ty Storey would have been this year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how good was Ty Storey going to be this year? I don't know.
But did you see enough from Ty Storey, though, last year? Because he played the majority of the snaps. Did you see enough from him to make you think that he was really going to elevate and up his game into this next season in 2019 to give you confidence that he would be able to improve not only on his game, but improve the offense as well?
I know this. Chad Morris and Joe Craddock know a lot more about football and offensive scheming than me, and they didn't see it because they weren't bending over backwards to keep Ty Storey as their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they were bending over backwards to find anybody from Kelly Bryant to now Ben Hicks and a lot of guys in between that would entertain the idea of coming to Arkansas.
That's where I lean on.
So
in those guys
clearly, in their expert opinion, they didn't see it.
No. Or else they wouldn't have gone this
fair
route.
or unfair.
They wouldn't have gone this
because
route.
Because it's not like they're trading for a quarterback that, hey, Ty Storey had 1 year left. We're going to go trade for this other guy. I hate to use the word trade, but that's essentially what you've done.
Yeah.
And now we're going to get this other guy that gives you 3 years. No, you hadn't done that either.
Mm-mm.
So it's not like you've built for the future. If you're going to do that, you'd have went with Connor Noland, right?
That's right.
Go all in on him. Don't need a transfer. We're going all in on Connor Noland. That hasn't seemed to be at least the message pushed out there. It will be very interesting to see what Connor Noland does with baseball versus football in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Yeah, because then once Ben Hicks leaves after his 1 year, are they going to go back to Connor Noland? Are they going to go with KJ Jefferson? Because they probably want to redshirt him this year. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, that time will tell exactly how that's going to play out. But going back to your point about talking about Joe Craddock and Chad Morrison knowing exactly what this team needs and what they're capable of and what's the best situation for them going forward, I guess that's something you can rely on, but it's also something that brings up and reaffirms the point that we've been hearing a long time for some of these guys that have been transferring out and whatnot. Chad Morris wants his guys.
Mm-hmm.
Every coach says that. Every guy knows that, hey, if a new coach comes in, he wants to get his recruits in there. We know that. But I think Chad Morris comes in and is like, whatever was left behind, I need to move on from all of that. Because I can't work with this. I can't work with these players, and I'm not saying all of them, but a good bit of them. I can't work with these guys and get them on my level.
We've talked about like 40 new faces going to be on this roster this year. Maybe a few more. That's like half of your scholarship players.
A ton of players that are going to be brand new.
Between players that have left, transfer, I mean, just going through the numbers.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. And
because I think as a coaching staff, you want to make sure you've got total buy-in. 100% complete total buy-in. And sometimes that's difficult with someone else's players. I mean, you see it in the workplace all the time.
Of course.
New GM, new boss, new owner, new whatever comes in. And, they'll bring in new staff. They'll bring in, their regional VP that they had at their old company.
Yeah.
They'll bring in some of their people because it's no like trust.
Yeah. Well,
it's people that get their system. Hey, they understand the way I like the reports and the spreadsheets and the way I want the plant run or the way I want whatever it is.
They understand.
Happens all the time in real life. This isn't a whole lot different.
No. It's familiarity is what they want.
Why do coaches bring in assistant coaches that they've coached with before?
Because
no like trust.
That's right.
They understand what we want. They understand how the meetings should be run.
Yeah.
They understand how the recruiting process should go.
Like that, if you just look at the example from Arkansas with John Chavis, why is he working with Steve Caldwell? I think that, of course, it's a good but it's familiarity. Yeah, and you have Jim Chaney and Sam Pittman. Why are they always working together?
You know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Now, recruiting football players is a little bit different because you're recruiting a high school. You don't really know what you're going to get till these guys come on campus, but you've spent time developing a relationship in a normal recruiting situation where you've started recruiting them maybe their sophomore or junior year. You've gotten to know the parents, the family, the high school coach, on down the list. All the key components to that player's life. And so you know that person. You've evaluated all of that. You're invested. A lot of these guys that they inherited, if you will, from the Bielema roster, they weren't able to make that investment. They've tried to make some short-term investment in that, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
And make no mistake, if you think about the two quarterbacks that legitimately took visits, legitimately showed interest, and legitimately was showed interest in by this coaching staff are the two quarterbacks, Kelly Bryant and Ben Hicks, that Chad Morris has a lot of familiarity with. He didn't actually coach Kelly Bryant, but he recruited him. He was pivotal in his recruiting. He was familiar with him. He knew him. He trusted him. Same thing with Ben Hicks. Mm-hmm. He actually coached him. Actually, he played quarterback under Chad Morris. And so, it goes back to this age-old question and make Razorback fans' minds explode when you ask this question. But it might even be in a case where did Chad Morris prefer to have someone like Ben Hicks over getting someone like even a Jalen Hurts, just because he knows what he's getting. Because, and I'm not, again, that's what makes it a little difficult because we don't know. We don't know in the mind of Chad Morris. But is that familiarity, does it mean that much? And does it go that far to where you'd rather go with a guy that's less talented, but you know what you're getting with him, than go with a guy that might be more talented, but you don't know what's going to happen?
Only when it's close. Only when it's close.
Yeah.
Talent always trumps because talent equals winning.
I agree.
And winning's what keeps you hired.
I agree.
Winning's what keeps you in a job. Winning's what keeps you getting those, $3-something, $4-something million checks every year.
Mm-hmm. But would you rather go with 1 year of Jalen Hurts where you have to teach him everything over again and saying this is completely different from what you're used to? Or do you go with Ben Hicks that is familiar and he steps right in?
No, Jalen Hurts.
I mean, I would think so too.
100 out of 100 times. But that wasn't an option.
I know. And that's what, and I'm obviously using that as the extreme case. But even, so throw in another realistic option. Shane Buechele from Texas. I mean, would it be the same way? Or would you be more comfortable with someone you're familiar with, like Ben Hicks? Or would you go with Shane Buechele who has to come in and learn something new, completely different?
He recruited him to SMU. He didn't go to SMU, but it's kind of the same Kelly Bryant scenario that you laid out.
I know, but with the style that Shane Buechele and what he was under at Texas, it's a completely different thing than what he was going to have to learn at Arkansas. So I don't know. I'm throwing out spitballs here and just seeing what sticks because I feel like there's a lot of interesting things that can come into this situation with Ben Hicks.
It's clear that Ben Hicks wasn't their first choice.
No. If the first choice was Kelly Bryant, they wouldn't have gone all in and done the visits if it wasn't him.
Yeah. I wasn't first choice for Tom as producer, but I got
9th or 10th. Job fell to you.
Mm-hmm.
But
got lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at you now. Obviously, their last choice was Ty Storey.
That was without a doubt.
That's what you...
Without a doubt.
That's the only thing I can come away with from this. Right or wrong.
They wanted anyone but Ty Storey.
Now, I'm sure if you publicly got a comment on that, that's not the answer you're going to get, but that's what it appears. No one's going to say that. Chad Morris is never going to say that, but that's the appearance.
That is the perception. And you know what? That may be okay. That may be a good situation. We don't know. But we do know that is the situation that Arkansas finds themselves in, and that they're going with Ben Hicks and not Ty Storey in 2019.
I just know you better find someone that can win at least 5 next year.
Get us 5.
Because we're talking about 4 non-con games you must win. Must. They're all at home. They're non-power 5. You must. Imperative. Required. And then we're talking you got to have a conference win. That's 5. I don't think that's asking too much to kind of be the floor.
Progression.
So, to me, that's what, I don't know about you guys, but that to me is like.
Same way. Minimum.
Okay, that's where we got to start. That's,
build yourself up from after
and I'm
that.
not going to be crazy and say, hey, you got to win 8 or even 7. 5 or 6 is kind of, I think, a reasonable 2019 expectation for a team that won 2 pathetic ball games last year.
If they get to that point, I think some people will start to buy in. But if they don't, you're stuck in the same situation you find yourself.
Win less than 5.
Yeah.
Maybe with 4, depending on how it's, but that maybe 4 theoretically, I mean, who knows? You could, I guess, lose a non-conference game and win a conference game and end up at 4. Well, that makes it a whole lot better. But you get 4 or less, you got to start questioning a lot of stuff from the top down.
Yeah.
About, is this thing headed in the right direction?
Yeah. I think a lot of those.
It's a big year.
A lot of questions will be asked.
Not a big year because you're going to win the West or compete for the West or anything like that. But to me, 5 is kind of like a reasonable starting spot.
Yeah. I don't think it's a fair.
When you get beyond 6 or 7, I think 7's really asking too much.
Yeah, I think that's way too high of an expectation. That's for sure. We got to take a commercial break though. 877-377-6963 is number calling. Before we get out of here though, you're going to tell you about the Fence Man.
Hey, if you've got that old, worn, tired fence that needs to be tore out and replaced, the Fence Man's there with a winter fence sale going on right now. 479-782-3936. Call him right now. He'll answer the phone, come out and give you a free quote, and that quote's going to include $1,000 savings for tearing out your existing fence. Now, it normally takes $1,000 to get that existing fence pulled out of the ground. That's not easy work. Hauled off and no longer a problem for you. Then they put the new fence in and away we go. $1,000 savings right now, but you got to call the Fence Man for free tear out. $1,000 savings during the winter fence sale. If you're in Crawford County and the storms damaged your fence, they'll give you a free tear out and a couple free walk gates right now. That's a $1,400 savings. Get all the details when you call the Fence Man. 479-782-3936. Wherever you're listening, $1,000 during their winter fence sale. With a free tear out, call the Fence Man. 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
It's Turner leading the pack. Turner missed it. Follow-up slam by Derek Walker. Defense. First bucket for the Gafford. That's a good move by the freshman. They want to see more of that as his game develops polish. 7 points for the freshman. Gafford goes to work on Walker. And a nice jump hook shot. That's a couple of those for that young man. Developing confidence. He's got 9. Barford. Reverse. What a shot by Jalen Barford. 19 points for the senior. Schofield. Got it. A silencer from the corner. Huge answer for Tennessee. Kick out. Open by Daniel. That would have been huge. Now Arkansas off and running. Barford exploding in the front court. Sets up the 3 for Macon. Got it. That is Arkansas basketball, and so is this. Barford. Gafford on a rebound. Yes. Timeout. Tennessee. Daniel going to go one-on-one. Rejected by Gafford. Here come the Razorbacks. Barford all the way, and that'll be a goaltend. Bacon. To Gafford. Thunders one home. Arkansas with the lead. It's so loud in here you can't even hear the whistle, but that is Tennessee ball. This is where Tennessee now, composure. They refuse the ball screen. All eyes are on Macon. Gafford goes and finishes with authority. Here it comes with 5. Macon with 4. Macon at the buzzer. Too strong. Tap up by Jones. No. And we're headed for overtime. Barford. 8 to shoot. Barford in the lane. Yes. No post presence at all without Williams on the floor. Instead, again, a desperation shot, but that time Daniel hits it. Boom. Yes, and our 3rd lead change of the overtime. Macon driving and hits the shot. Beautiful reverse layup by the senior, and then almost a turnover. It is a turnover. Tennessee has had trouble with the inbound.
Got to go meet it, be aggressive.
Macon, beautiful take. And a timeout called with 2:23 to go. The Razorbacks up 3 in overtime.
To a perimeter team here in its overtime.
Bone misfires. Barford got it. Macon on a deep three. And that might be a dagger. 29 points for Daryl Macon. Desperation. Macon. Rebound Arkansas. Beard on a three. A dagger in Arkansas up by 11. 28-8 run. And an offensive foul on Bone.
Got to have it if you're the Vols.
A bank three for Turner.
But they have guys who can make shots and create shots on their own.
Speaking of creating shots, well, Monte Turner makes it a 2-point game. Now quickly, or get a turnover, and oh my goodness, Bone almost stole it away. What an unbelievable finish to an unbelievable game. Arkansas survives at home.
Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry has been proudly delivering to and from various areas of the United States, including but not limited to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Call them at 479-997-2366 or log on to BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
ESPN 95.3. The most entertaining sports talk radio show in the Natty State. This is The Morning Rush.
Welcome back into The Morning Rush. Let's squeeze in a quick phone call. Jason is in Marshall. What's going on, Jason?
Hey, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Ty Storey just got screwed over. Like bad timing at Arkansas. Had high hopes for him when he came in, and with a coaching change and a really bad offensive line, it just sucks for him. What do you guys think?
Well, I tell you what, we're up against the commercial break, Jason. We'll get to that. We'll answer
Good question.
And get your response. Yeah, because I think that's something we haven't really addressed and we can really dive into. But yeah, we'll respond to that on the other side of the break, and of course get to more of your phone calls. 877-377-6963. Dealing with Ben Hicks and the new quarterback for the Arkansas Razorbacks. We'll talk about that and a lot more on the other side of the break. Stay with us, folks. This is The Morning Rush.
Quick turnaround for our basketball team. I think this is our first Big Tuesday game, and playing against one of the better teams in the country. I think they're playing as good as anyone in the country right now, and they had a great non-conference schedule. I think they lost overtime to Kansas, and of course returning with Grant Williams, the Player of the Year in our league last year, as well as a guy that's playing really well, Schofield. And if you recall, those guys starting out as young freshmen, and took some bumps along the way, and now they're one of the more experienced combo. But they have more than just Williams. The Bowen kid, the Bowen and Bone kid, guys that have played meaningful minutes. So it's an experienced team, and we get the challenge of going and playing them at their place. And coming off of a tough overtime loss to LSU, we'll find out more about the make of our basketball team. And as I told our guys, I'm not discouraged anyway, because in every game we play, we've been right there, and just got to continue to try to make those plays that that convert you into winning. And I think our bench is going to be a big part of that. Our bench has to come in and play at a high level in the first half and even in the second half, and enable the guys to finish off the game, to finish it off strong. I think there's some guys out there playing tired and trying to play through it. But again, Tennessee, very good basketball team, playing well. welcome to the SEC family. Every game is a big game, and this is another big game on our schedule. So, to me, it's a great opportunity. It's a tremendous challenge, but we'll go in there with the understanding that they're a good team and we're a good basketball team.
You know, Mike, you look at the box from the last time you guys played there a couple of years ago. You don't have anybody left who played in that game. They got a bunch of guys who were freshmen or sophomores, and now they're juniors and seniors. Just how tough is that to have such a young team having to play at their place when they're so experienced?
Well, this is this is new for our guys, having an opportunity to go and play against one of the better teams at their place. So we will find out more about our basketball team. I think that's, to me, what it's all about. Is you're going to play against some great teams, and let's find out where we are. So I think our guys are looking forward to the opportunity, the challenge of going playing, and as I said, they're a very physical basketball team, and I think that's one thing we've got to match their physicality. You know, they shoot it and go get it. They shoot at a high percentage. They're one of the leading assist teams in the country, but that's what you call, just the process. I think that's the process, and I think Rick has trust the process. I think those kids trust the process, and now they're playing as one of the better teams in the country.
How different? I mean, Grant Williams, he's a junior now. I mean, you saw those guys as young guys. Now they're men. I mean, how different? Same players, but it's a lot different teams.
Well, again, you can't teach experience, and it's a process you got to go through it. And those guys went through it. They took some lumps early on in those years, but we saw the process, the maturity take place, and of course.
Welcome back into the Morning Rush. We're going to respond to a previous caller's call here in just a second. But first, we're going to tell you about Kevin Hickey Law.
Yeah, if you're facing divorce, child or custody issues, criminal matters, dealing with DHS, hard time of the year to get through some of that, you need an experienced, aggressive attorney that is in your corner. Kevin Hickey Law. They're in Northwest Arkansas and in the River Valley with an office convenient for you. Call them in Fort Smith at 479-434-2414. Or in Bentonville at 479-802-6560. They've seen it all. Ugly custody battles, DHS not giving you the whole story, angry spouses with false accusations. They've dealt with it all types of legal matters as well. Call Kevin at either of those numbers. You can get those numbers, more details, and read their blog with case examples all online at kevinhickeylaw.com. That's kevinhickeylaw.com.
Jason and Marshall called in the previous segment and asked about Ty Storey and asked if we feel like maybe he's getting screwed in this whole deal, where he played last year, got his butt handed to him, got hit a bunch of times, battled through injury, and entering into his final year of college football, essentially he's transferring. And I think it's a mutual thing that he's transferring too.
We think that, no one's probably, again, we're not on the inside. I don't think he's being forced out.
No.
Told he can't come back for his final year. I don't think Chad Morris is handling it in that fashion. He wants to play. Chad Morris has to win. And Chad Morris is trying to figure out the best option.
And quickest option.
And the quickest option to get to the most wins in 2019. This is just it's a ruthless business for everybody. The players, the coaches, the administrators. It's hard on it's because the fans have unrealistic expectations everywhere. Look at Alabama. Listen to the Feinbaum shows for the couple of days following Alabama losing the national championship game, going 14-1 after winning an SEC championship. They're wanting to fire the whole staff. Clean house. It's ridiculous, Paul. It's because that's why we're fanatics. Mm-hmm. We're fanatical. We just have reality and fandom don't go together. And that's the pressure of being in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. And let me
you got to win now. You got to win like you better have won yesterday.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. If Ty Storey stuck around and said, you know what, Chad Morris is just going to say, you know what, he's put in a lot. We're going to let him play another year. I'm not going to look for any other quarterback. He's going to be our guy because we owe it to him. And then they ended up being terrible again this next season. Do you think anybody's going to accept that? Think anybody wants to have that? No.
I'm not saying the way Ty's put in his time.
Of course he has.
He had his shot this year. Some feel like he might have earned a starting role for 2019. But the reality is this coaching staff feels like they could win more games with Ben Hicks or another option. Right now they've chosen what appears to be Ben Hicks.
Mm-hmm. And if you do that, that's what you got to do.
Because the coaches have to win yesterday.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying his job's on the line, but he definitely knows that he can't have another season like he had previously. He can't.
It starts to build up.
Mm-hmm. And if he only won 3 games next year with Ty Storey, where's the hope coming from?
Right.
Got to find some way to get those more victories.
How do you keep the recruiting machine going with those kind of wins? Mm-hmm. Washington Regional Medical Center committed to providing stroke care that aligns with the latest research-based treatment guidelines. Washington Regional, proud to be recognized by the American Heart Association for achievement in the Get with the Guidelines and Target Stroke quality programs. It's just one more way. Washington Regional working to improve health care for you and your family. Details online at wregional.com.
So we've been talking a lot about Ben Hicks. Obviously, there's a lot of questions and a lot of people wanting to discuss, and we got a lot of people calling into, and we'll get to those phone calls as well. We were able to interview Ben Hicks and what he thought about coming into Arkansas, what he'll be able to add, type of impact he will have in his first season and playing under Chad Morris once again. We're going to play back that interview for you on the other side of the break. Some interesting stuff, especially dealing with him coming into the SEC and no longer being an AAC player. Quite a difference. Is he up to the challenge? We'll get to that and a lot more, as well as your phone calls, 877-377-6963. More of the Morning Rush coming up next.
Hi, folks. Larry Rath here with a better way to drive from Rath Auto Resources. A new year means it's time for a new ride. You can resolve to drive better with discounts up to $3,200 below retail value on our huge inventory of Rath road-ready vehicles. When I say huge, I mean huge. Over 250 cars, trucks, SUVs, and vans, all priced to save you money. Plus, the Rath...
I mean, people don't talk about him, but I think he's a big key to what they do, and they've added some depth with their bench. But I think those guys that you talk about, those are the guys, the core guys for them, as well as Bowen and Boyne and Bone. Those guys are really good basketball players. The Turner kid, I mean, he's one of those guys that have been there through freshmen, and so it's we're at that stage right now with a lot of young guys, and so the process they have to go through it, and sometimes there's some hard knocks, some tough losses. And I say I can look at every one of our games, and you look at the free throw lines, you look at the turnovers, the rebounding, and we're just a few plays away. And so, can we get over that hurdle? And of course, it's going to be a big hurdle going against a Tennessee team, but it's one we look forward to.
As physical as they are, what are Chaney and Gabe going to have to do off the bench to help out Daniel and just in general?
I believe those guys are going to have to bring us some efficient, some quality minutes. I think they're going to have to do some blue collar things. That's what this game is going to be about: blue collar, defending, loose balls, keeping them off the boards, putting bodies on them. Maybe getting them in foul trouble. We've been pretty good about really. Attacking and getting to the basket, and so it's going to be important that we be strong with the basketball, and the biggest thing is on the road you got to have some poise, but no question about it, our guards have got to rebound. And not only Reggie and Gabe, Daniel.
Spitting the most fire takes you'll ever hear all morning long. This is the Morning Rush.
Welcome back into the Morning Rush. We're going to get to your phone calls here in just a second. But first, we got to tell you this from Brent Higgins Trucking.
Hey, are you an experienced transportation professional? You've been driving frozen and refrigerated goods, and you want to be part of a trucking family that offers insurance, get you home to see your family every week. All those things sound good to you. You need to call Brent Higgins Trucking. They've been doing it since 1997. They're headquartered out of Mulberry, but they deliver all over the area. Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. They're not going to send you, to the coast of the country each and every run. So you get to see your family, be home more often with Brent Higgins Trucking. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. All of this sounds good to you, better than your current situation. Call them at 479-997-2396. For more details online at BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
Let's go to the phone lines. Larry's in Barling. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
Okay, for one thing, I think for like last year, let me turn my radio down here.
Please do.
Think for one thing, if Ty Storey had a solid offensive line where the plays could develop. He could have done better. But he was scrambling around trying to get away from everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my second point is I'm hoping that this next quarterback coming in, he'll see teach these guys behind him, because he's going to be here 1 year. So maybe he could teach them, like, okay, this is, I don't do this, I don't do that, and I'm just going to ask for your opinion.
I appreciate the phone call, Larry. I think that's going to be part of what he's being brought in to do, too. I think he's going to help the other guys and the other quarterbacks in the room maybe develop the offensive playbook and be able to do the offensive strategy and all that, because there's no doubt the install that kept getting thrown around, as Chad Morris saying, 30%, 35% installed on what they want to do offensively. I think having a quarterback who has 100% of the install in his mind can probably help further that along and be able to get this offense on the same page, especially the quarterbacks behind him. So I think that's a big deal for sure. And speaking of Ben Hicks, we were able to interview him yesterday and talk about his decision of coming to the University of Arkansas, what things can be expected from him. Really interesting interview, and we're going to play that back right now for you. So without further ado, here is the newest Razorback quarterback, Ben Hicks. Right now, let's go to the phone lines as we welcome in the newest member of the Razorback football team, Ben Hicks, the grad transfer quarterback from SMU. There's a lot of things that we definitely want to ask him about and get to. Ben, really appreciate you joining us this morning. How you doing, man?
I'm good, sir. How about yourself?
We're doing really well. Congratulations on your decision to play for the Razorbacks. And let's just start right there. What made you decide that Arkansas was the best fit to take your talents over to Fayetteville?
Just the opportunity to play for Coach Morris and his staff again, and I really enjoyed my visit. And when I left, it just felt like it was something, an opportunity I couldn't let pass. So I'm really excited.
Well, that's got to be kind of a weird thing, right? To play for Chad Morris at SMU, then him leave for Arkansas, then you leave SMU for Arkansas. It's like a crazy deja vu. It's got to be, right?
Yes, sir. It's interesting how it worked out, but I think it's for the best. So.
Well, let's talk about Chad Morris. Obviously, he had a tough go in his first season at Arkansas, going 2-10, and fans are just waiting on him to take him to that next level. What is it about Chad Morris that you appreciate and you love so much as a quarterback, and what makes you think that he'll be able to get it done at a high level at Arkansas?
Well, we saw it at SMU. First year at SMU wasn't great, but just gradually got better and better, and I think that's exactly what he'll be able to do, and what I hope to do when I come to Arkansas. And I just think, he'll gradually get the program better and better. And, I think Arkansas fans should be excited about having him in Arkansas. And, I'm really looking forward to this season. It's going to be a lot of fun to get back to work with those guys. And, I'm real excited.
So one of the things that we always find interesting is we only get to see Chad Morris when he's behind the podium doing a press conference or whatnot in a game. But what's it like to work with him day in and day out with that routine as a quarterback? Obviously, he's a great offensive mind, but what is that like? Take us in the ins and outs of what it's like to work with him on the day-to-day basis.
Coach Morris is a real smart guy. He understands football. He understands his quarterbacks. He's got high energy. He's always juiced up and ready to go, and that energy kind of feeds over into the team. I had a blast working with him at SMU, and I know it's going to be the same in Arkansas. So he's a great guy, high energy at all times, and like we said, he knows his quarterbacks, and he's had a lot of success with quarterbacks. So looking forward to having a successful year at Arkansas with him.
Speaking with Ben Hicks, the newest quarterback to the Arkansas Razorback football team right now on the show. Ben, another question I want to get into is about the guys around you, because obviously Arkansas has some new freshman wide receivers coming in with their great recruiting class for the 2019 year. They have some running backs that are established. It's about the offensive line. It's always about who you're going to be throwing to, handing off to, and blocking in front of you. So what do you know about the guys that you're going to be playing around? What do you make of that situation that you're going to be in?
Watched a few games this year. I know they have a great running back core. I know they're extremely high on those guys, and then they're extremely high on the freshman receivers that they signed. So, got to talk to a few guys this weekend on my visit. I know they're excited about the staff and what all the good things that are to come with Coach Morris. And, you could feel the energy and the excitement with those guys. And, I'm really looking forward to working with all of them.
Yeah, take us through your visit, Ben. Did they do anything special for you? Did they just sit you down and tell you what it's going to be about? Did they take you to a nice seafood dinner? I mean, what was your visit like when you made it to Fayetteville?
Well, I got there kind of around 2 o'clock on Saturday. Was able to sit down with Coach Morris and talk ball Coach Craddock and talk ball for a while, and showed me around. And then Coach Morris got back in town about 4:30, and we went over to the basketball game, and we were able to kind of get a feel with the environment and the fans, and obviously a great fan base. So I was able to see that at the basketball game, and that got me really excited. And then went to dinner after that, and had a great dinner. Got to sit down and talk and talk about things from SMU and things that he thinks we can do at Arkansas. So the visit was great. I love Fayetteville, and I'm looking forward to get up there as soon as possible.
All right, so it's going to be quite a jump, I'm sure going from the AAC to the SEC. I mean, it's a whole new animal, especially in the SEC West. You're an older guy. You're going to be coming in with a lot of experience, but to go into the SEC and making that jump, how do you feel about that, and are you confident in yourself that you'll be able to step right in and be able to compete?
Oh, I'm excited. Playing in the SEC was something I always dreamed about as a kid. It's obviously the best conference in the country, and to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I'm excited for the opportunity to play in that conference, and such a great conference. And it's a test for myself, and I'm excited about the opportunity, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Ben, real quick before we let you get out of here, since the Razorback fans are just now getting to know you, is there anything out there that you want to let the Razorback fans know, that's something about you that not many people know, what they want to expect or need to expect once Ben Hicks goes out on the field and takes those snaps for the Razorbacks?
I'm a high-energy guy. I love football. It's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And, I'm always going to play really hard. I'm going to compete hard every day. So, I'm excited, and whoop big.
And there you have it, whoop big. There you go, Razorback fans. He's ready. Ben Hicks, the former SMU quarterback, now the newest addition to the Arkansas Razorback football team. Really appreciate you joining us, Ben. Again, congratulations on your decision. Good luck this season. I'm sure we'll be catching up with you later down the road, my man.
Yes, sir. Look forward to talking soon. Thank you.
All right, there you have it, the interview with Ben Hicks, the newest quarterback for the Arkansas Razorbacks. And I think the few things stood out. He talks about the same type of thing that we've known about Chad Morris, him being a high-energy guy. I'll be interested to see how he feels about that challenge of going from the AAC to the SEC. You go from playing teams at SMU like the North Texases of the world, which I know they're a good team, but you're playing those types of teams to where week in and week out you're going to be playing Alabama and Auburn and LSU and Texas A&M. And, I mean, it doesn't get any easier for the challenge that he's got in front of him, and I think he sounds like he's excited about it. He's going to be ready for it, but is he going to elevate the team and elevate this offense in a way that they haven't seen from the previous year? You certainly hope so, but we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out, that's for sure.
Hey, the Morning Rush brought to you by NWA Gold and Silver. Did you hear the story about two sisters in Central Arkansas? They took some gold and silver coins they inherited into NWA Gold and Silver. Each walked out with $15,000. What you have in your drawer, safety deposit box, and a safe in your home could be worth thousands. And the state's largest buyer for diamonds, estate jewelry, luxury jewelry can help you liquidate that into cash. And like the story says, gold and silver, what you have could be worth thousands. They have locations all over the state and a location near you. Just go to Facebook and search for NWA Gold and Silver, and you'll find a location that's close to you and convenient for you as well. They've been doing this for years. They have connections all over the world. People trust NWA Gold and Silver. And if you're looking to buy jewelry, they can probably save you money on that purchase as well. Just search them out on Facebook, NWA Gold and Silver.
Coming up next, we're going to clean up some of the storylines, and I want to get into this thing of Clemson making a visit to the White House and the food that they were served, because apparently this is a big deal. But I want to jump right into that and discuss that and more on the other side of the break. Stay with us, folks. This is The Morning Rush.
Honest Razorback talk that never yields. This is The Morning Rush.
It's time to start planning your next outdoor adventure at the Greater Fort Smith RV Boat and Outdoor Show. Check out top brands for new motorhomes, fifth wheels, and travel trailers. Shop and compare bass, ski, and pontoon boats, as well as golf carts, tractors, mowers, four-wheelers, side-by-sides, and the latest outdoor clothing and equipment all in one location. Sponsored by Crabtree RV, Cofer's Boat Center, Golf Carts of Fort Smith, Wheeler Power Sports, Jelco Outdoors, Alma Tractor, and Bad Boy Mowers. The best deals of the year are here January 25th through February 2nd at the Greater Fort Smith RV Show, hosted by Crabtree RV in Alma.
When you drive a Toyota Tundra or Tacoma, weekdays and weekends are two entirely different beasts. While an awe-inspiring view on a weekday might sound something like this.
Hon, there's a raccoon going through our trash again.
An awe-inspiring view on the weekend sounds a little more like this.
Whoa, Dad, this is crazy!
And while a bold adventure on the weekdays might be something like,
all right, kids, time to drive 3 hours to your swim meet.
Bold adventures on the weekend are closer to something like weekday.
Oh, cool, a standing desk.
Weekend.
Oh, cool, a ski boat!
You get the idea. Make your weekends more exciting than the days before them in the virtually indestructible Toyota Tundra and Tacoma. Toyota, let's go places. Right now, qualified buyers can get 0% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2019 Toyota Tundra Special Edition. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. Visit gstoffers.com for details. Offers available in select states and 2419.
You, the woman in the SUV pulling into the yoga studio. You got a truck for a reason, remember? So get
fast break, pushing in there, and people are going to start paying a lot of attention. I think Daniel's been the recipient of that because they're spacing the floor in terms of trying to cover Isaiah, they're covering Mason over here, and it's opening up the lanes that J5 can get in there, and we're moving Daniel around. So now Daniel is a recipient of that. But I think he just got to continue to work, and I think we got to watch him from the minutes he's playing. I think sometimes young guys kind of hit a little wall in terms of being tired, and so I think Keyshawn and Desi and coming off the bench, I think they got to be very critical going down the stretch here. So we got to put those guys in and let them have some meaningful minutes. And I think we're seeing they're playing more consistent now. And that's the key with young guys. Can they be consistent? Can Reggie give us that night in and night out where he is a threat out there? I think Desi is playing pretty good basketball for us right now. Can we get Keyshawn more minutes out there on the floor? And I think what that'll help is help those guys starting out in the game get some rest.
Of Mason's first 3 games, he had some big shots at A&M, and he's been pretty consistently aggressive, I guess, the last 2 home games.
I think Mason's starting to figure it out. They've been guarding him really hard. They scouted these guys, and they were guarding him really hard. And I think with most good players, they figure out, how to maximize what teams are doing to him. And if you notice, he's getting to the free throw line. The last 2 games, I think he's gotten to the free throw line almost 20 times. And so that obviously continues the scoring that we need on our basketball team. And I think he's moving without the ball, cutting to the hole and getting layups. So we're getting, I think, into a the more up tempo we get, I think the more you'll see him continue to be a threat. He's learning. I think he's learning. But the one thing I want them to always understand that is it's inside out. And the more we start, I think, attacking the basket, getting the ball to Daniel, I think it opens it up for him. And I think that's what is taking place.
The free throws, do you think it's starting to get mental with the guys that are kind of pressing? Because Mason's obviously shooting well, but even guys you expect to shoot pretty well like Jalen and Isaiah have missed some. You think it's getting to be mental at all?
We're working on them. I think we're working on it. Let me put it that way. They're working extremely every day to get better, and I feel it. I got a feeling it'll get better. I really, really do. It's been the thing that. If you think there's something that's probably been the shortcoming of this team right now, it's probably making free throws and critical free throws. And as you said, guys that should be making them. And it's the difference between winning and losing games. And I think we've been in that position. So you just got to continue to work on it and just continue to encourage those guys.
Daniel, he got the 4th foul again the other day, but he played a long time without fouling out. What did he do? I mean, I guess is that just maturity, being smart, kind of knowing when to be aggressive, when not to? Or
yeah.
What do you think of how he was able to not get the 5th foul?
He's done that a couple of games. The last couple of games he's had 4 fouls, and he played better with 4. I think, I don't know, even A&M, I think he got 4 fouls. But he's got to be smart enough. Even the third one, he shouldn't have gotten. That's where he's got to get smart. The third one, I think we had some momentum going, and I think he deflected the ball and he dove after the ball. I mean, he wasn't going to come up with it, so just let him have it. And that's the thing about our team right now is that in the LSU.
Morning Rush in the final segment on this Toyota Tuesday. Be sure to check out all new 2019 Toyota vehicles at your local Arkansas Toyota dealer, including the Highlander with plenty of room up to 8 people, the stylish new Corolla, the work-ready family Tough Tundra, and the Go Anywhere 4Runner. Toyota, let's go places. So one of the funny stories that came across the timeline yesterday was that Clemson, of course, won the national championship in football just last week. And what comes along with a lot of these national championships or winning the title in respective sports is a trip to the White House. So Clemson made the trip to the White House. And when you think that you would make a trip to the White House, you would be served with the highest of gourmet foods, steaks and
lobster or
hors d'oeuvres, and under a candlelight, and it's just really fancy. It's the White House.
Forrest Gump drank all them Dr. Peppers.
I know. It was the fanciest of fancies.
He had to pee really bad.
Yes, he did. Well, as you all know, the government is shut down currently. And partially shut down. Not completely, but partially shut down. And President Trump decided that with the players coming in, they weren't going to have any of the cooks or chefs there at the White House to prepare anything. Instead, he says, quote, "We ordered American fast food paid for by me. Lots of hamburgers and lots of pizza. We have some very large people that like eating, so I think we're going to have a little fun." Now, what was included in this meal from the White House, in the smorgasbord, if you will, they had silver trays that held stacks of wrapped burgers from Wendy's. Also, were offered boxed burgers from McDonald's, including Big Macs, as well as Domino's Pizza, and White House cups bearing the presidential seal held French fries. I don't think it can get more American than that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. In fact, needless to say, the food did not last that long, as the players were very excited once they arrived in the White House, have seen all the food, and there's pictures of some players having about 4 or 5 stacks of burgers, of boxes, and taking some fries along with them.
I don't imagine many offensive linemen left disappointed.
I can't imagine how you could. Because, hey, listen, if you don't like McDonald's, they got Wendy's. If you don't like Wendy's, they got McDonald's. If you don't like the fast food, they got pizza. I mean, they got, if you are
paradise.
If you're in your teenager still, late teen, maybe you're in your early 20s, I mean, this is paradise for you.
Yeah.
You won the championship, and you've been on these strict diets throughout your whole college football career of having to eat a certain way and exercise a certain way. And then you get to go, and I mean, this is truly the celebration. Forget the trophy.
I would run a train through that buffet.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how amazing
what
would
be the first thing Ty Richardson would reach for?
The pizza. But I'd grab a box of pizza, I'd grab a Big Mac, I'd grab a Wendy's wrap, and I'd probably eat it all.
I mean, you'd probably grab one of everything.
So the Big Mac is your go-to?
No, pizza first, but I haven't had a Big Mac in like 15 years. So if they had it, I'd probably snag it.
I love how the fact that they said pizza, some topped with olives and tomatoes. I don't know why that was
important.
What? Yeah, but they made sure to mention that in the story. They were also on the menu.
Olives and tomatoes, like
a pizza normally could have. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's not like any type of fish that's on it or something. But they also had silver bowls that held the condiments and stacks of white plates that sat nearby. People were just coming in and just cleaning up shop when it came to this food. Now, we all know that the current political sphere that we're in and the way that society looks at everything political. But I think that the most enjoyment I got from this whole story is because as soon as I saw it, as soon as I read it, the hot takes and the stances that people took on this particular story was nothing short of incredible, but not short of surprising.
Yeah.
I mean,
ultimately the president saved the country some money because he footed the bill.
He paid for it. He went fast food, and he got American food.
So,
it wasn't like they were getting it from exporting it in from somewhere. No, I mean, he got the true American food. And that's what he did. But the fact that, I saw an article that somebody legitimately wrote about how this is horrible because given the way that that Clemson has a particular person there at campus, that helps them with their diet and eating habits. This goes against what that person has taught them completely, and how it's a horrible story. Guys, they went and ate McDonald's and Wendy's. I mean, it's food. It's just for fun. It's just that. Just take it for what it is on the surface. But that's not what people wanted to do. I would have been all about it. I don't know about you, Tommy.
I would, regardless of who the president is, at any given time you offer a trip to the White House, I'm in. I mean, it'd be a cool trip. I would like to probably have something other than a Big Mac when I get there.
Well, they had
but
options.
that would be fine. I mean, something other than fast food.
Yeah.
But that's fine, you know. The food would be
secondary.
Not even secondary. What's third dairy? Fourth dairy. No dairy.
All right, don't put it down that far down the list. Come on, the food would be important.
They also had salads.
No, if there's Big Macs on the table.
Well, what cracks me up is you
we ain't
see
going for no salad.
You're in the fanciest of rooms in the White House. You have these big structures and these candles that are lit. It's so fancy. And then you have a big old portrait of Abraham Lincoln, like in the background, and Donald Trump's just sitting there with the thumbs up behind this whole, and everything is just Big Macs and Wendy's. Like, I thought that was the funniest thing.
America.
Just sitting, just got everything's so extravagant, but when you get down to the nitty gritty, right there, Big Macs and Wendy's burgers and pizza. Hey, the Clemson people were happy about it. The only thing that I would have maybe suggested is maybe if you went to Chick-fil-A, maybe that would have made a little difference.
Yeah.
Maybe people wouldn't have been so upset, but we all know that's reality.
When are we going to get that spread out on the
why
table,
is it,
Tommy?
though, you can get a sausage egg McMuffin all day at McDonald's, but you can't get a Big Mac all day?
I mean, you can't get a Big Mac all day? I guess they don't serve it during breakfast, do they?
You can get a sausage biscuit 6 o'clock at night.
Well,
no quarter pounder with cheese at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, Tommy, what you can do is you can buy it the night before and let it sit.
Probably taste about the same, too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, about to say, microwave it back up.
Oh.
And then you can re-microwave the fries, and they become that packing peanuts that you put in your packages.
No.
So when do we get that spread, Tommy? When are you doing that for us?
When you're buying it, because like Trump bought it.
Yeah.
How about that? We'll do
I'm
that.
not the millionaire of this group.
I don't think any of us are the millionaire of this group. Appreciate everybody listening in today. For Tommy Kraft and Ty Richardson, I am John Neighbor. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow morning, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.